Chapter 2775 Secret. Lu Ming was somewhat speechless. Vicious? How am I vicious? You outsiders are all vicious people. You don't have good intentions in coming to ancient G.O.D.S. Mountain. The young woman said coldly. Hee, we don't have good intentions? We're only here to pick some ancient G.O.D. flowers. How can you say that we're vicious? You released the map of the ancient G.O.D.S. mountain to lure us here, then trapped us with the formation and fed our flesh and blood to the ancient G.O.D. flower. Who is more vicious, you or us? Lu Ming said coldly. You're talking nonsense, We, the descendants of the ancient G.O.D.S., would never do such a cruel thing. Don't you slander us. The young woman gritted her teeth and looked at Lu Ming with a look of hatred. Could it be that this woman really doesn't know? Lu Ming's heart stirred. Stop pretending. Someone from your ancient G.O.D. clan has set up a formation with the ancient G.O.D. flower as the eye of the formation to absorb the flesh and blood of a large number of experts in order to condense the heart of the ancient G.O.D. Don't think I don't know about it. Also, the flesh and blood of outsiders like us won't be enough. When the time comes, I'm afraid most of the descendants of the ancient G.O.D.S. will be buried with you and sacrificed. Lu Ming said coldly. As he spoke, his eyes were fixed on the young woman, waiting for her reaction. The woman's face turned pale. She then glared at Lu Ming and shouted, You're talking nonsense. This is impossible. That formation was set up by my father. My father would never do such a thing. Don't you dare slander him. So that formation was laid down by the clan leader of the ancient G.O.D. descendants. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and he sneered. It's not like you can't believe it. But it's the truth. We obtained hundreds of maps of ancient G.O.D.S. mountain out of thin air. We found ancient G.O.D.S. mountain through the maps, but in the end, everyone died. I was the only one who was lucky enough to survive. Next, the descendants of ancient G.O.D.S. will die. Shut up. You're talking nonsense. Don't talk nonsense. I won't allow you to slander my father. The young woman shouted, but her eyes were no longer as firm as before. Instead, she looked suspicious. He is not talking nonsense. At this moment, an old voice came from outside the valley. The voice had come from far away, but by the time it had sounded, it was already very close. A top expert had come. Lu Ming was shocked. With a thought, the ice chain flew out and wrapped around the young woman, trying to control her. However, the moment the ice chains flew out, a terrifying pressure came from the sky. The pressure was heavier than a mountain. The 9 ice chains were trapped by the pressure. At the same time, the pressure pressed on Lu Ming's body, forcing him to retreat. At this moment, an old man holding a dragon-headed walking stick appeared in the valley. The wrinkles on his face were like mountains, making him look very old. Not good, it's a 3rd-level heavenly deity. We're finished this time, Bone shouted. Grandpa Gubo. Seeing the old man, the young woman smiled and ran to him. Xing, are you all right? The old man looked at the young woman dotingly. This young woman's name was Gu Xing. Fine, Grandpa Gubo. This outsider actually slandered father just now. That's right, Grandpa Gubo, why did you say he was right just now? Gu Xing was rather happy, but when she said the last sentence, she revealed a trace of suspicion. I mean, what this little guy said just now is very likely to be true. Sigh. Gubo sighed. Really? How is this possible? Impossible, this is impossible? Gu Xing's eyes revealed a look of disbelief as she shook her head. Lu Ming said that his father had set up a formation to nourish the ancient G.O.D. flower with the flesh and blood of outsiders. Later on, he would also use the flesh and blood of the descendants of the ancient G.O.D.S. to nourish the ancient G.O.D. flower. How was that possible? She could not believe it. At first I didn't believe it either. But ever since the clan leader set up that great formation and gave the order to seal the mountain, I began to doubt it. All these years I've been investigating in secret, and I've finally found out that your father's obsession is too deep. He wholeheartedly wants the descendants of the ancient G.O.D.S. to walk on the path to glory, and he wholeheartedly wants to condense the ancient G.O.D. heart. For this he will pay any price. Gubo sighed, his voice filled with helplessness. How could this be? How did this happen? Gu Xing was completely at a loss. This blow to her was really too big. If Gubo had not told her this news, she would never have believed it. However, Gubo would not lie to her. Little guy, you can see the function of that great formation with one look and deduce so many things. It's not simple. Gu Bo looked at Lu Ming, his face full of surprise. And NBSP, I was just randomly guessing. Senior, I have no ill intentions toward the ancient G.O.D. descendants. I just want to take a few ancient G.O.D. flowers. Could Senior allow me to leave? The ancient G.O.D. Emperor asked. Lu Ming explained. I'm afraid it'll be very difficult for you to leave now. The Patriarch has already given the order that all the exits have been sealed. Even if this old man wants to help you, I can't. Gu Bo said. All the exits have been sealed. Lu Ming frowned. This was troublesome. No, I have to stop my father. I have to stop him. Gu Xing called out in a daze and was about to rush out of the valley. Gu Bo waved his hand, and a ray of Shin power enveloped Gu Xing, blocking her. Grandpa Gu Bo, why are you stopping me? I want to see my father, I want to stop him. Gu Xing shouted. Xing the Patriarch's obsession is too deep, and the matter is about to reach the final step. If you go over, you won't be able to stop him. Instead, you'll be put under house arrest. Gu Bo said. Then what should we do? Was he just going to let it go? If it's true, then how many of our clansmen will die? Hell be a sinner through the ages. Gu Xing shouted. Of course he won't. If I'm not wrong, the clan leader will definitely choose to take action at the ancestral worship ceremony in a month. At that time, I'm afraid 90% of the clan will be sacrificed. Gu Bo said. Gu Xing quivered. That's right, the ancestral worship ceremony would be held in a month's time. At that time, all the descendants of the ancient G.O.D.S. would gather at the place where the 8 valleys converge to worship their ancestors. That would be the best time to strike. During this period of time, I will secretly gather some people. When your father makes his move, we will stop him. After Gu Bo said this, he looked at Lu Ming and said, Little friend, why don't you stay and help this old man? Only by stopping the Patriarch's evil actions can you leave. At that time, this old man will give you some ancient G.O.D. flowers. What do you think? All right then. Lu Ming nodded. In the current situation, he could only choose to agree. What else could he do if he didn't agree? Chapter 2776. It begins good. Now you two will leave with this old man. Once we arrive at my residence, he'll spread the news that I've already saved Xing. Little brother, you should change your appearance so that this old man can take you away. Gu Bo said. Lu Ming nodded. At this moment he could only choose to believe in Gu Bo. Moreover, with Gu Bo's cultivation, there was no need to lie to him. He didn't have a hostage in his hands right now, so if Gu Bo wanted to kill him, it would be as easy as turning his hand. Immediately, Lu Ming changed his appearance, changed his clothes, and flew out with Gu Bo. Not long after, a group of people flew over from the front. When they saw Gu Xing, they were instantly overjoyed. Third Miss, you're all right? Someone revealed a look of joy. Don't worry, I've already saved Third Miss. Gu Bo said. Senior Elder, I wonder how that foreign kid is doing? Someone asked. That brat has already been killed by me. There's no corpse left. You can rest assured. Gu Bo said. I see. The group of people nodded. However, when they glanced at Lu Ming, they still had a suspicious look on their faces. However, in front of Gu Bo, they didn't dare to be impudent. Gu Bo was one of the few remaining elders in the clan of the ancient G.O.D.S. descendants, and his seniority was frighteningly high. This group of people cast a glance at Lu Ming and left one after another. Lu Ming followed Gu Bo and arrived at Gu Bo's residence without any danger. For the rest of the time, Lu Ming stayed here while Gu Bo secretly contacted the experts he could trust. After a month, he would stop the clan leader of the descendants of the ancient G.O.D. As for Gu Xing, she was obviously distracted. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, a month had passed. That day was the day the descendants of the ancient G.O.D.S. would worship their ancestors. The location was the gathering of the 8 valleys, the place where ancient G.O.D. flowers were planted. That place was the holy land of the ancient G.O.D. clan. The gathering place of the 8 valleys was filled with people. Most of the descendants of the ancient G.O.D.S. had come and gathered at the gathering place of the 8 valleys. On the northern cliff there was a group of people standing. The leader was a middle-aged burly man with a square face and a dignified expression. He was the clan leader of the ancient G.O.D. descendants, Gu Xing's father, Gu Xiong. Beside Gu Xiong stood the Grand Elder and some other elders. Let's start the ancestral worship. Gu Xiong's voice reverberated across the entire place. Welcome to the ancestral altar. All the ancient G.O.D. clansmen shouted in unison. Then 8 burly men carrying an altar flew over. With every step they took, there would be fled sound in the void, as if they were carrying a divine mountain while walking. This altar was ancient and filled with the feeling of time. It was the ancestral altar of the ancient G.O.D. When the 8 brawny men carried the altar to the place where the 8 valleys gathered, the altar emitted a brilliant light. Runes appeared on it, then flew into the void and began to expand. Bus. Gu Xiong's body flickered as he flew to the top of the altar and sat down cross-legged. All the descendants of the ancient G.O.D.s bowed to Gu Xiong. Today after today I will rise again. The ancient G.O.D. clan will rise again. I hope you don't blame me. Your sacrifice is worth it. Looking at the tens of thousands of descendants of the ancient G.O.D.s, Gu Xiong roared in his heart. He had been preparing for this day for far too long. Today he was going to condense the ancient G.O.D.s heart and regain the glory of the ancient G.O.D. Second elder, fifth elder, you can all go down. At this moment, Gu Xiong looked at some people on the cliff. Many of them were elders of the descendants of the ancient G.O.D.s. We're going down too? The elders were stunned. According to the usual practice, the elders could just stand on the cliff and did not need to go down. Not bad, you may all leave. Gu Xiong spoke again with a more serious tone. Although the elders were suspicious, they didn't disobey. They all flew to the bottom of the valley and stood in the sea of ancient G.O.D. flowers. Of course, not all of the elders flew down. For example, the first elder and a few others stood there without moving. It was obvious that these people had known about Gu Xiong's plan long ago, and they were also Gu Xiong's supporters. Where's Xing'e? Didn't she come? Gu Xiong looked at the first elder. Third miss didn't come. She has been staying with Elder Gu Bo all this time. The great elder reported. Oh really? That's good. Gu Xiong's eyes flickered with an indescribable light. Actually, at this moment, Gu Xing had already arrived nearby. Gu Xing, Lu Ming, Gu Bo, and some of the people that Gu Bo had contacted, came to a secret place in the distance, watching this side from afar. Father, I hope you won't do anything stupid. Gu Xing's hands were tightly clenched together. She was extremely nervous. At this moment, Gu Xiong started his speech. We, the descendants of the ancient G.O.D.s, are the descendants of the ancient G.O.D.s. And, blood flows in our bodies. We should have been the dominators and royal families of the primeval universe. But now we're hiding on a small star. My fellow clansmen, are you willing to accept this? Gu Xiong's voice sounded. I'm unwilling. I'm unwilling. The descendant of the ancient G.O.D. clan shouted. His voice was so loud that it could topple mountains and overturn the seas. I'm also unwilling. Gu Xiong roared, I once swore that I would lead our race to glory in this life. For that, I would do anything including my own life. What about you? Are you willing to sacrifice your lives for the glory of our race? I'm willing. I'm willing to sacrifice my life. The descendants of the ancient G.O.D.s roared. Alright, since you're all willing, then today will be the day you sacrifice yourselves to bring success to our tribe. Activate the formation. Gu Xiong shouted. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. Activate the formation. The Grand Elder and the others also shouted. And NBSP, the walls and the ground of the 8 valleys congregated in endless runes, creating a light barrier that completely enveloped all the ancient G.O.D. descendants. This is what's going on. Chief, what are you doing? Many descendants of the ancient G.O.D.s felt that something was wrong and immediately shouted. But the next moment, a scream was heard. And NBSP, a ball of blood-colored mist appeared and covered one of the ancient G.O.D. descendants. This descendant's cultivation wasn't high, so his flesh and blood were quickly corroded and turned into a pool of blood. What's going on? Chief, what are you doing? Many people shouted. Father, in the distance, Gu Xing suddenly collapsed onto the ground as if she had been drained of all her strength. Her eyes were filled with disappointment. As expected, as expected. Rush out and stop them. Remember, close the formation first. Gu Bo roared and charged out first. The others followed Gu Bo and flew out. Lu Ming mixed in with the crowd and flew out together. Your sacrifice will bring glory to our clan. Rest in peace. Gu Xiong's cold voice sounded. Animal, you animal. You want to sacrifice us for your own benefit. Some elders finally saw through Gu Xiong's evil intentions and immediately shouted out. Chapter 2777 Stopping, Charge out. And NBSP all the ancient G.O.D. descendants were furious, and they all charged at the light shields and attacked them. However, when all the attacks the light shield did not move at all. Could not be broken at all. Miserable shrieks rang out continuously as the blood-colored mist in the array increased. Some of the weaker cultivators couldn't withstand it at all. Once they were enveloped by the blood-colored mist, only death awaited them. At this time, Gu Bo and the others had already arrived. Gu Xiong, you have the ambition of a wolf. You want to condense the heart of the ancient G.O.D. by yourself, but you have to sacrifice so many of your clansmen. I will not allow you to do so. Gu Bo roared. It's Elder Gu Bo, it's Elder Gu Bo. The descendants of the ancient G.O.D. that were trapped in the formation were overjoyed when they saw Gu Bo. Gu Bo. Gu Xiong looked at Gu Bo, his eyes filled with cold killing intent. Leave Gu Xiong to me. You guys go and close the formation. Gu Bo shouted at the others and then pounced towards Gu Xiong. You think you can stop me? Naive kill. Gu Xiong shouted as he flew up into the sky and threw a punch towards Gu Bo. Gu Bo didn't dodge at all, and also exploded with an attack, blasting out a terrifying move. Boom. The two of them collided with an earth-shattering boom, but the result was a tie. As the clan leader of the ancient G.O.D.'s descendants, Gu Xiong's strength was also very shocking. He had reached the third level of the celestial deity realm. The two of them fought intensely and it was difficult to determine the winner. Lu Ming and the rest rushed to the base of the array on the cliff. Don't even think about closing the formation. Stop them. If they resist, kill them without mercy. The great elder gave the order and soared into the sky, erupting with a terrifying attack. Head elder had first-level celestial deity cultivation and was extremely terrifying too. However, there was also a first-level heavenly G.O.D. on Lu Ming's side who charged at first elder. The two sides were engaged in an intense battle. Lu Ming and the group were fighting with the others. Ice chains. At this moment, Lu Ming did not care about hiding his ident. He used all his strength. 9 ice chains flew out and swept toward the descendants of the ancient G.O.S. It's you, an outsider. The first elder recognized Lu Ming as soon as he attacked. He let out an angry roar, his eyes filled with ferocity. It was because of Lu Ming that he had to watch his son die in the formation. He could not wait to burn Lu Ming's bones and scatter his ashes. Kill this brat, the great elder roared. Leave this kid to me. An old man charged at Lu Ming, the saber in his hand slashing out rays of saber radiance. Clang, clang. The saber ray struck the ice chains and sent them flying back. This elder was an elder of the descendants of the ancient G.O.D.s. His cultivation had reached the peak of true G.O.D. and he was astonishingly powerful. He was not any weaker than Lu Zhong back then. Lu Ming was immediately blocked and he retreated. The two sides were locked in battle. Father, stop. At this moment, Gu Xing also flew over and shouted. Xing go to the side. This is none of your business. Gu Xiong shouted. Father, let's stop. Those people are all from our clan. There aren't many people in our clan of ancient G.O.D. descendants to begin with. If this continues, I'm afraid we'll be exterminated. Gu Xing shouted. Nonsense. As long as I can condense the ancient G.O.D.'s heart, I will definitely lead my clan to glory. Their sacrifices will be worth it. Gu Xiong roared, his eyes filled with madness. Father, Gu Xing's eyes were filled with disappointment. She gritted her teeth and rushed towards Gu Xiong. Xing, are you? Seeing Gu Xing rushing over, Gu Xiong was slightly startled. With such a shock, his attack speed was slightly slower, allowing Gu Bo to seize the opportunity to punch Gu Xiong's shoulder. Gu Xiong was forced back and coughed out blood. Gu Xiong, close the grand formation now. Don't be so stubborn. Kill. Gu Bo shouted. At this moment, the descendants of the ancient G.O.D.s were dying in the formation. His heart was bleeding. Impossible. Gu Xiong roared. If that's the case, then don't blame me for being ruthless. Gu Bo charged towards Gu Xiong. Humph, Gu Bo, do you think I don't know that you'll stop me today? You think you're being secretive, but I've already seen through your plan. Come out. Gu Xiong sneered as he waved his hand. Bus. Suddenly, 2 streaks of light shot out from not far away, flying towards Gu Bo at an astonishing speed. The two of them were both old people. One was an old man and the other was an old woman. They both looked as old as Gu Bo. Gu Shang, Gu Ling, it's you. Gu Bo was shocked. Because these two were existences that were as famous as him. They were the other two elders of the descendants of the ancient G.O.D.S. There were a total of 3 elders among the descendants of the ancient G.O.D.S., which were Gu Bo, Gu Shang, and Gu Ling. Kill. Gu Shang and Gu Ling immediately charged towards Gu Bo. The cultivation of the two of them was at the 3rd level heavenly deity realm, and their combat strength was not any weaker than Gu Boss. With the two of them joining forces, Gu Bo was no match for them at all. He was sent flying with a single move, spitting out blood. Gu Shang, Gu Ling, what are you doing? Even you guys want your assistants to torture you? Gu Bo roared. However, Gu Shang and Gu Ling did not seem to hear him and continued to charge towards Gu Bo. Their attacks were sharp and filled with killing intent. Haha, you don't have to shout anymore. They've been under my control for a long time. They're completely obedient to me. You can't stop me today. Ah. Gu Bo laughed. With a wave of his hand, a wave of G.O.D. power swept out, covering Gu Xing and controlling her. At the same time he moved and charged toward Lu Ming and the rest. Not good. Lu Ming and the rest were shocked. The other party suddenly had 2 3rd-level celestial deity powerhouses charge out. Their strength already completely surpassed their side. They were absolutely not a match. Lu Ming retreated without thinking. However, Gu Xiong had already noticed him. He snorted coldly and waved his hand. A huge palm print came crashing down on Lu Ming. The terrifying aura had completely locked onto Lu Ming, making it impossible for him to escape. However, Lu Ming would not give in. He would not sit and wait for death. The 3 apocalyptic strikes, moon-cutting. Lu Ming growled and burst out with all his strength, turning into a shocking spear radiance and attacking the palm print. At the same time, the 9 ice chains stabbed at the palm print like 9 silver divine spears. Boom. Boom. With a series of explosions, the spear radiance as thick as a mountain range struck the palm print, stirring up violent energy. However, Gu Xiong's palm print was too powerful. It burst out with an abundant amount of energy and Lu Ming's spear radiance was shattered. Even the 9 ice chains were shattered one by one. However, the ice chains were only a secret technique. If they were shattered, they could still be reformed. Boom. Lu Ming was hit by the palm print and fell heavily to the ground. He spat out a large mouthful of blood. Many bones in his body were broken. He had been severely injured. He didn't die? Gu Xiong was slightly stunned. Although that move just now was a casual move, it was extremely surprising that it didn't kill a stage 1 true G.O.D. Chapter 2778 Reversal Patriarch. Don't kill him. Just kill him. It's too easy on him. I want to throw him into the formation and watch him die miserably as his flesh and blood are melted by the formation. The great elder shouted, his eyes extremely ferocious. His son had died in the formation because of Lu Ming. His flesh and blood had been melted. He wanted Lu Ming to die in the formation too. Only then could he vent the hatred in his heart. All right, then send him into the formation. Gu Xiong nodded. He waved his hand and a powerful force gushed out. Lu Ming was pushed by this force and flew into the formation. He's back. Lu Ming was speechless. He gathered his divine power to resist the blood-red mist outside. And NBSP, however, because of the battle outside, no one activated the array, so it operated rather slowly. The mist wasn't thick, so the number of ancient G.O.D. descendants that had fallen was not particularly high. After sending Lu Ming into the formation, Gu Xiong attacked the others. The rest of the people couldn't resist Gu Xiong at all. They were all suppressed by Gu Xiong and sent into the formation one by one. Since they wanted to resist him, they should all turn into blood to nourish the ancient G.O.D. flower and help him obtain the heart of the ancient Gu Boss men were all wiped out. Gu Xing was under Gu Boss control and couldn't move at all, her face full of disappointment and anxiety. And at this moment, Gu Bo himself was also in danger. Under the siege of 2 experts of the same level, he was completely outmatched. He was already injured and couldn't hold on for much longer. Gu Bo, let's go in together. Gu Xiong said coldly as he personally charged towards Gu Bo. Gu Bo was already no match for him, and with Gu Xiong's help, it was even more difficult for him to fight back. After a few moves he was hit by Gu Xiong and was seriously injured. Bang! Bang! Gu Shang and Gu Ling attacked from the front and back, each striking Gu Bo. Gu Bo's divine body almost exploded, and his injuries became more serious. He had no power to fight back. Gu Bo, go in. Gu Xiong said coldly. His vast divine power suppressed Gu Bo and sent him into the formation. In this way Gu Bo and the others were completely annihilated. Grandpa Gu Bo, father, don't. Gu Xing shouted. Shut up. What I'm doing is the great matter of reviving the descendants of the ancient G.O.D.S. What do you know? Gu Xiong shouted coldly. With a flash of his body he returned to the altar. Continue operating the formation. Gu Xiong ordered. Activate the formation. The first elder and the others appeared on the 8 cliffs to control the formation. Within the formation, runes filled the air and were extremely dazzling. The blood-colored mist was rapidly increasing. More and more descendants of the ancient G.O.D.S. began to fall. Ah, Gu Xiong, you'll die a horrible death. You've lost your mind for your own selfish reasons. And NBSP, many of the ancient G.O.D. descendants cursed and swore. However, Gu Xiong remained calm and unmoved. As the descendants of the ancient G.O.D.S. continued to fall, their flesh and blood seeped into the ground and were absorbed by the ancient G.O.D. flower. The flower became more beautiful and plump. The ancient G.O.D. flowers that covered the entire mountain gave off a strong fragrance. It's time. Gu Xiong's eyes were filled with anticipation. He quickly formed a hand seal and runes entered the altar under his feet. The altar glowed with a bright light. Lines of runes extended out like tentacles and merged with the array. Bus. At that moment, the entire place where the 8 valleys gathered trembled. Then all the ancient G.O.D. flowers emitted strands of blood-red energy that gathered toward Gu Xiong. Gu Xiong was immediately surrounded by a layer of blood-red energy. It's here, it's here. Aha, I'm going to condense the heart of the ancient G.O.D. Gu Xiong was ecstatic. They were called the descendants of ancient G.O.D.S., but in fact the bloodline of ancient G.O.D.S. in their bodies was extremely thin, and their potential was also very limited. However, once he condensed the ancient G.O.D.S. heart, it would be different. His potential would be limitless and his future improvements would be shocking. Sigh, is it still difficult to stop it? Gu Bo heaved a long sigh, full of helplessness. Haha, even the heavens are on my side. No, the heavens are on your side, kid. At this moment in his knowledge Bone Demon was laughing excitedly. You're still smiling so happily when we're almost done for. Lu Ming was somewhat speechless. Nonsense. Kid, your great opportunity has arrived. Bone laughed. Lucky chance? What kind of opportunity? Lu Ming asked. Those idiots. If they had killed you outside the formation, I wouldn't have been able to do anything about it. However, they acted smart and sent you into the formation. Have a way. Bone laughed. What is it? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Don't you have the measure formula? You can use it to fight for the ancient G.O.D. flower's energy with the patriarch. If you can attract all the energy, I have a way to make it yours and help you condense the heart of the ancient G.O.D. Bone said. This works too. Lu Ming was overjoyed. It should be possible. I can attract all the energy from the outside. The voice of the Quant formula sounded. Then all the members of the ancient G.O.D. clan will die? Lu Ming frowned. There's no need. As long as the measure formula absorbs the energy from the outside and fights with the clan leader will suffer a backlash and the formation will stop. Don't worry, the ancient G.O.D. flower's energy is enough to form the heart of the ancient G.O.D. It's just that the clan leader is too greedy. Bone said. Alright, let's not delay any further. Let's begin. Lu Ming said hurriedly. Watch this, old lady. The measure formula was called out and the words emitted a dazzling radiance. Even Lu Ming's glabella was suffused with a layer of light. Ooh! A terrifying suction force was produced. The energy that was originally gathering toward Gu Xiong suddenly changed its direction and gathered toward Lu Ming. All of it surged into Lu Ming's glabella and entered the measure character. However, it was not refined this time. After the Quant formula, it immediately spread out and surged into Lu Ming's body. Condense, the Bone Demon made its move. It conjured a strange seal and guided the energy, directing it to Lu Ming's heart. What's going on? What's going on? At this moment, Gu Xiong roared furiously. Everything had been fine. The energy of the ancient G.O.D. flower had been gathering towards him, and he had a feeling that he would be able to form the heart of the ancient G.O.D. very soon. However, the energy outside suddenly changed direction and gathered toward Lu Ming. To his horror, he had already fused with the array. He could not control his body at all. The energy that he had just absorbed and even his own energy gushed out continuously and surged towards Lu Ming. That brat and it stop. Gu Xiong roared in anger. What was going on? The others were also baffled and couldn't figure it out. Suck. I'll suck. The measure formula absorbed the energy from the outside world with all its might. The energy in the ancient God flower, including Gu Xiong's, continuously gathered toward Lu Ming. Chapter 2781 Condensing the Ancient G.O.D's heart. Gu Xiong suffered from the backlash. The blood mist in the formation didn't become thicker. Instead it became thinner. And it, you little what have you done? Stop. Gu Xiong roared madly. He was about to go crazy. The energy he had absorbed from the ancient G.O.D flower had all been absorbed by Lu Ming. His own energy, blood, and essence had all been turned into blood qi for Lu Ming to absorb. His essence qi was being seriously consumed, and his body was quickly shriveling. This made him extremely frightened. At this moment, there was a crimson light spot shining at Lu Ming's heart. Energy from the Quant. 1. Tai formula was constantly surging and gathering at his heart. Lu Ming was about to condense the ancient G.O.D's heart. On the ground, the ancient G.O.D flowers that had covered the entire mountain were also shriveling. This is the backlash. Gu Ba's eyes brightened as if he had seen through something. He was very surprised. This way at least the descendants of the ancient G.O.Ds wouldn't have to be buried with them. Close the formation. Gu Xiong roared. First Elder and the others quickly shut down the array. The light barrier disappeared, and the blood-colored mist disappeared as well. However, Gu Xiong did not obtain his freedom. He had been completely pinned down and merged with the formation. As long as the Liang word formula did not let go, he would not be free. And it go and kill that brat. Gu Xiong roared. Kill? First Elder and the rest charged at Lu Ming. Don't even think about it. Everyone, let's attack together and stop them. Gu Bo roared. Attack. With the disappearance of the formation, the people who were trapped in the formation could naturally attack. They launched an attack on the First Elder and the others in anger. There were many of them. All of them attacked and blocked the attacks of the First Elder and the others. Kill? Gu Shang and Gu Ling were under Gu Xiong's control. They followed Gu Xiong's orders and charged at Lu Ming. Let's stop the two of them together. Gu Bo gathered his remaining strength and brought a few heavenly G.O.D realm elders to attack Gu Shang and Gu Ling. Although Gu Bo and the others were at a disadvantage, they were able to delay their movements. What are you guys doing? I'm going to lead the descendants of the ancient G.O.Ds to glory, so why are you stopping me? You've betrayed your ancestors. Gu Xiong cursed like a mad dog. Gu Xiong, you've gone completely mad. You've sacrificed so many of your clansmen for your own selfish reasons. You're the one who has betrayed your ancestors. Gu Bo coldly shouted. However, Gu Xiong didn't seem to hear him. He just kept cursing. At this moment, his body had already shriveled up and turned into skin and bones like a skeleton. His chi essence and blood essence were almost completely absorbed. Even if the Quant. 1. Tai formula stopped now, he was already a cripple. The divine fire in his body had been completely extinguished. At the same time, the ancient God flowers that covered the entire mountain had completely shriveled up. All the energy was absorbed by the Quant. 1. Tai formula and gushed into Lu Ming's body. Ancient G.O.D's heart, condense. The bone demon shouted in Lu Ming's sea of consciousness. Lu Ming's heart had completely changed. It was filled with a piercing blood-red color and was filled with endless energy. It was beating non-stop. An NBSP hoo-hoo. All of a sudden, extremely pure qi and blood gushed out from his heart and seeped into the depths of Lu Ming's body in an instant. Lu Ming's divine body was transforming rapidly. It was improving at an alarming rate. The ancient G.O.D's heart had been successfully condensed. At the moment when the ancient G.O.D's heart was successfully condensed, Lu Ming seemed to hear a loud roar from his heart that seemed to come from ancient times. He seemed to see an incomparably huge ancient G.O.D rampaging through the universe. With a punch, a star would explode. At that moment, not only was Lu Ming's divine body improving rapidly, but his cultivation was also improving rapidly. With an astonishing speed, he got closer to peak first stage true G.O.D. Soon, his cultivation reached the peak of stage 1 true G.O.D realm. Boom. A loud boom erupted from his body, and his cultivation broke through to the second stage of true G.O.D realm smoothly. Moreover, it was rapidly charging towards peak stage 2 true G.O.D realm. Why? On the altar, Gu Xiong let out a miserable shriek. He knew that he had been completely defeated. He had become a cripple and his life was hanging by a thread. As Gu Xiong was crippled, Gu Shang and Gu Ling's bodies trembled violently and they suddenly stopped. Initially, their eyes were filled with confusion, but at this moment they regained their consciousness. Gu Bo, stop. Gu Shang roared. Gu Shang, you've recovered? Gu Bo stopped and was overjoyed. I've recovered. Gu Shang nodded and looked around. He sighed and said, Good, I almost made a big mistake. Gu Xiong and Gu Luo? Gu Ling's eyes were extremely cold as he looked at the Great Elder and the others. His body moved and he rushed towards the Great Elder, sending a palm strike down. Not good, what? The first elder was shocked and tried to block, but he was no match for Gu Ling. He was suppressed by Gu Ling's palm and spat out a mouthful of blood. Gu Bo, Gu Shang and the others also rushed over. The people who followed Gu Xiong were instantly suppressed. Why is it like this? The first elder was at a loss. Finally, his gaze fell on Lu Ming. At this moment, Lu Ming's body was blood red, and he exuded a sense of majesty. This majesty made all the descendants of the ancient G.O.D.S feel apprehensive. This was the suppression of their blood vessels. This meant that Lu Ming's blood vessels were much stronger than theirs. Ancient G.O.D.S heart. He has actually condensed the ancient G.O.D.S heart. Gu Shang muttered to himself in shock. It's indeed the ancient G.O.D.S heart. I really didn't expect that Gu Xiong's scheme would end up benefiting someone else's disciple. Gu Bo also laughed. However, such an ending was already the best ending. The crisis of the descendants of the ancient G.O.D.S had finally passed. At that moment, the aura on Lu Ming's body slowly stabilized. The energy fluctuations on his body also disappeared. It's a pity that I'm just a little bit away from reaching the third stage of true G.O.D. Lu Ming sighed. Now, his cultivation was peak second stage true G.O. Kid, you're still not satisfied after getting such a great opportunity. Most of the ancient G.O.D. flower's energy was used to condense the ancient G.O.D.S heart. Your cultivation has only increased by a little bit, and your divine body has also increased by several times. You should be satisfied. Bone said. Senior, what's the use of the ancient G.O.D.S heart? Lu Ming asked. Forming the ancient G.O.D.S heart has already given you a rich ancient G.O.D. bloodline. The ancient G.O.D.S heart will automatically absorb the energy from the outside world to strengthen your divine body. Even if you don't cultivate in the future, your divine body will continue to grow. Do you understand? Bone said. It can continue to grow without cultivating? Lu Ming was dumbfounded. This function was really heaven-defying. An ancient G.O.D.S gate. After knowing the function of the ancient G.O.D.S heart, Lu Ming's heart was burning with pious shaun. If his divine body continued to grow stronger, would he become as strong as an ancient G.O.D. in the future? Kid, I have another piece of good news for you. Just now, I kept absorbing energy and there's still a lot of energy left in my body. Once I refine it, I'll transfer it to you and your cultivation will increase by another level. The Quant 1 Thai formula said. Really? Lu Ming was about to burst out laughing. This time, although the process was very dangerous, the harvest was also amazing. His cultivation had increased to the second stage of true G.O.D. realm, and he had condensed the ancient G.O.D. heart. His divine body was also several times stronger than before. With the strength of his current divine body, it was already enough to cultivate the battle character formula to 4 times his combat power. What a great harvest! Lu Ming collected his thoughts and calmed down. He scanned the crowd and his gaze finally landed on the first elder. At that moment, First Elder was glaring at Lu Ming with a venomous look. You don't have to look at me like that. I have to thank you. If you didn't send me into the formation, I wouldn't have been able to condense the heart of the ancient G.O.D. Lu Ming smiled faintly. The Great Elder was so angry that he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. It was too late for him to regret. His intestines were green with regret. Previously, Gu Xiong had wanted to kill Lu Ming, but he had insisted on sending Lu Ming into the formation. He had never expected that he would help Lu Ming instead, causing their plan to fail at the last step. Gu Xiong was so infuriated that he almost died. He regretted not killing Lu Ming with a single blow. If he had, he would have been the one to condense the ancient God's heart. However, there was no medicine for regret in this world. It was too late to regret now. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment a sudden change occurred. The place where the 8 valleys congregated, along with the 8 valleys, suddenly trembled violently. Even the ground shook violently. The ancient G.O.D. flowers that had covered the entire mountain had already dried up. Now they had turned into ashes and scattered. However, the ground was still emitting a blinding light. What's going on? What's going on? And NBSP, many of the ancient G.O.D. descendants began to cry out. Even Gu Xiong, Gu Bo and the others were at a loss, not knowing what was going on. The shaking of the ground became stronger and stronger, and the light on the ground became stronger and stronger. There was even an extremely terrifying aura that burst out. It was filled with an ancient and imposing aura. It was as if a mountain was pressing on everyone's body, and some people even almost spat out blood. Retreat, retreat. Gu Bo shouted, calling for the descendants of the ancient G.O.D.S. to retreat. Only after retreating a long distance did the pressure lessen. Senior Gu Bo, what's going on? Lu Ming stood beside Gu Bo and asked curiously. I don't know. The gathering place of the 8 valleys is the holy land of the descendants of the ancient G.O.D.S. All the time, the worship of the ancestors has been carried out here, but such a situation has never happened before. Gu Bo frowned. He had lived for a long time, but this was the first time he had encountered such a situation. Boom, boom. The ground where the 8 valleys gathered shook more and more violently. Finally, a huge pillar of light shot into the sky. There had been mysterious formations around the ancient G.O.D.S. mountain, which was why it could be hidden from the outside world. However, at this moment, the light pillar shot up into the sky and broke the formation around the ancient G.O.D.S. mountain. Once the formation was broken, the ancient G.O.D.S. mountain would be exposed. As for the light shield, it directly shot into S.P.C. The light beam was so bright that even those who were standing on another planet outside the ancient G.O.D. star could see it, let alone the ancient G.O.D. star itself. At least half of the people on the ancient G.O.D. star had seen the light beam, and countless people were looking in this direction. Then, what's that? What a terrifying commotion. Could a peerless treasure have appeared? Let's go and take a look. With a flash of their bodies, they rushed in the direction of ancient G.O.D.S. mountain. At that moment, Lu Ming and the rest were dumbfounded. Because at this moment, at the place where the light valley gathered, a door was slowly emerging. This was a huge bronze door that was 10,000 zhang in height. It stood tall between the heaven and earth, and there were many ancient G.O.D. spirits carved on it. Could this be the legendary ancient G.O.D. sect? Gu Bo seemed to have thought of something and shouted in shock. His old body was trembling with excitement. The gate of ancient G.O.D. It must be the gate of ancient G.O.D. The legendary gate of ancient G.O.D. that leads to the world of ancient G.O.D. I didn't expect the place where the 8 valleys gathered to have a hidden ancient G.O.D.S. gate. Gu Shang and Gu Ling also shouted excitedly, their eyes burning with excitement. There was an ancient legend among the descendants of the ancient G.O.D.S. Legend had it that the gate of ancient G.O.D. led to the world of the ancient G.O.D. If one had the chance to enter the world of the ancient G.O.D.S., one would have the chance to become an ancient G.O.D. and become invincible in the world. How could they not be moved by this? The gate of ancient G.O.D. that leads to the ancient G.O.D. world. Lu Ming was shocked when he heard that. The gate of ancient G.O.D. appeared. It stood between the heaven and earth and gave off a blinding light. The gate of ancient G.O.D. was made up of 2 bronze doors that were tightly shut. However, as time passed, the light on the gate of ancient G.O.D. became dimmer and dimmer. Finally, the light disappeared, leaving only an ancient bronze door standing between the heaven and earth. The vast pressure had also disappeared. Let's go and take a look. Gu Bo, Gu Shang, Gu Ling and the others couldn't stay calm. They rushed toward the gate of ancient G.O.D. The other descendants of the ancient G.O.D.S. followed closely behind, leaving only a few behind to guard the Grand Elder and the others. Giggle. Giggle. At this moment, Qiu, which had been on Lu Ming's wrist in the form of a bangle, turned into a round ball and floated in the air. A pair of eyes appeared on its eye. Yes, and it stared at the gate of ancient Ji. Oh. Its mouth was wide open and it looked extremely excited. Little guy, what do you want to do? Lu Ming was a little curious. Giggle giggle. Qiu's big mouth kept closing, and its eyes were filled with greed as it stared at the door of the ancient Ji. You don't tell me you're thinking of gnawing at that bronze door? Lu Ming asked speechlessly. He did not expect Qiu to nod continuously. Lu Ming's forehead was covered in cold sweat. Little fellow, don't act rashly, Lu Ming instructed in a low voice. He took Qiu and flew toward the ancient Ji's gate. Gu Bo and the rest had already landed below the gate of ancient Ji. The gate of ancient Ji was huge. It was tens of thousands of feet tall and tens of thousands of feet wide. They were as small as ants before the gate of ancient Ji. Gu Bo and the others tried to push the gate of ancient Ji open, but it was like an ant trying to shake a tree. The gate of ancient Ji did not move at all. In the end, almost all the descendants of the ancient Ji's joined forces to push the gate of ancient Ji but the result was the same. Lu Ming also joined in, but it was useless. Brat, don't waste your time. This gate is extremely ancient and heavy. There is a great formation carved on it. You can't open it with just your strength. Bone said. Chapter 2781 G. King descends. Lu Ming smiled bitterly and shook his head. He retreated a distance and did not continue to attack. Qiu wanted to rush out several times but was stopped by Lu Ming. After all, there were so many descendants of ancient Ji's present. He was really a little afraid that Qiu would cause some trouble. Gu Bo and the others tried all sorts of methods, but none of them worked. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, streaks of rainbow light flew over from the distance. It was as if meteors were raining down from the sky, and it was a very spectacular sight. The other people on the ancient G star had finally arrived. Could it be the ancient G's mountain? Didn't our zone leader go to the ancient G's mountain? Why did the ancient G's mountain appear on its own? What a huge door. What's that? Let's go and take a look. One figure after another flew to ancient G's mountain and the bronze gate. Get lost. Gu Bo shouted in anger, his heavenly G realm aura spreading out, causing these people to be shocked and retreat. The ancient G star was occupied by the dominators. The highest cultivation of those dominators was only peak Real G and most of them had died in the ancient G mountain. The people who came now were not more than stage 6 of true G Under the pressure of Gu Bo, they naturally did not dare to act rashly. However, as time passed, more and more people arrived. They filled the sky and the number was uncountable. Gu Bo let out a long sigh. With so many people, even if his cultivation was high, he couldn't suppress them. Moreover, the news would probably spread out very quickly. At that time, the major powers of the Qin Heaven starfield would descend, and they would be even more helpless. In fact, the news had already spread. There were not only natives on the ancient G star. There were also disciples like Lu Ming who came from the Qin Heaven 13 clans to train on the ancient G star. They had already spread the news of the ancient G star's change and the bronze gate. Grand Elder, what should we do now? Someone asked Gu Bo and the others. Now the ancient G's mountain had been completely occupied by others. There were people everywhere and they could no longer suppress the situation. Let's go, leave this place. We'll find another place to live. This place is no longer suitable for living. Gu Bo heaved a long sigh, feeling very helpless. The other descendants of the ancient G's were also helpless. However, they knew that this place was indeed not suitable for living. When the powerful forces of the Qin Heaven Star domain descended, they would definitely not be able to protect the ancient G's mountain. If they were not careful, they might even face the calamity of extermination. Let's go, Lu Ming. We're leaving. Take care. Gu Bo cupped his fists at Lu Ming. Take care. Lu Ming nodded. Lu Ming, let's meet again if there's a chance. Gu Xing also walked over to bid her farewell. Although Lu Ming had caused Gu Xiong to be on the verge of death, Gu Xing did not blame him. She knew that Gu Xiong had brought all of this upon himself. Moreover, Lu Ming had also saved most of the descendants of the ancient Ji. Oh, DS. Take care. We'll meet again if there's a chance. Lu Ming smiled. And NBSP, the descendants of the ancient Ji. Oh, D race all left and disappeared into the horizon. As soon as the descendants of the ancient Ji. Oh, DS left, the crowd immediately flew toward the gate of ancient Ji. Oh, D trying to open it. Of course, the gate of ancient Ji. Oh, D couldn't be opened with just a large number of people. No matter how hard they tried, they still couldn't open it. At this moment, Lu Ming quietly approached the ancient Ji. Oh, DS gate. Little guy, do whatever you want to do, but be careful. Lu Ming instructed Qiu. Giggle. Qiu immediately scuttled out, opened its mouth wide and bit at the bronze door. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He stared at it nervously. Creak creak creak. Qiu bit the bronze door ruthlessly, emitting an ear-piercing sound. Boom. The bronze door trembled and a terrifying pressure spread out. What's going on? Nest. Many people were directly sent flying by this pressure. Not good. Lu Ming's expression changed. Qiu bit even harder and gnawed with all its might. Its sharp teeth actually bit into the bronze door. Squeak. At this moment, wisps of lightning spread out from the bronze door, emitting terrifying energy fluctuations. Not good. Qiu, quickly retreat. Lu Ming quickly shouted. That was because the wisps of lightning were spreading towards Qiu. Giggle. Qiu mustered all its strength and bit with all its might. Finally, he bit off a small piece of bronze and retreated frantically, but it was already too late. A wisp of lightning struck Qiu's body, and Qiu was sent flying. Ball, Lu Ming was shocked. He ran in the direction where Qiu was blasted and saw that Qiu had crashed heavily on the ground and was no longer moving. Lu Ming's heart beat wildly. He ran over hurriedly and realized that Qiu's entire body was black, as if it had been burnt. Lu Ming's heart sank. However, in the next moment, Qiu's round body rolled twice, and its big mouth appeared again, biting a few times with a giggle sound. This guy was fine. Lu Ming felt at ease. This guy, you're even willing to throw away your life for food. Lu Ming carried Qiu and scolded jokingly. Qiu transformed into a bangle and wrapped itself around Lu Ming's wrist. Its aura was very weak. Qiu had been struck by the lightning from the bronze door and was severely injured. I should leave first. Many people were already looking at Lu Ming. In a flash, Lu Ming left the ancient DS mountain and came to a mountain more than 100,000 miles away. He observed the changes of the mountain from a distance. More and more people gathered around the ancient DS mountain. A few days later, there was indeed an important figure who arrived. A terrifying character descended from the sect closest to the Qin Heavenly 13 clans. This person was enveloped in a divine light, emitting a terrifying pressure. Everyone was suppressed by this pressure and almost vomited blood. They all retreated frantically, leaving the bronze door. The figure stood alone in front of the bronze door. Boom. The figure suddenly made a move. A terrifying divine light blasted towards the bronze door, trying to blast it open. Boom. A violent boom erupted from the bronze door, but after the boom, the bronze door remained unmoving. Open it, die. The figure shouted. His divine power burned like flames, and an even more terrifying aura burst out. Many people's bodies trembled and they spat out large mouthfuls of blood. They were almost crushed to death. Back off. Quickly retreat. Countless people retreated in a frenzy, terrified. What a terrifying aura. Even though he was more than 100,000 miles away, Lu Ming could feel a terrifying pressure pressing down on him. He could only retreat. He only felt better after retreating another 100,000 miles. Kid, that's a God king. Bone said indifferently. He's indeed a God king. Lu Ming gasped. This was the first time he had seen the king of DS in action. The power was truly earth-shattering and could swallow mountains and rivers. It was extremely terrifying. If one were to say that heavenly deities were the experts of the Qin Heaven Star region, then kings were definitely overlord-level characters of the Qin Heaven Star region. Ouyang Qingxiang kings were much more powerful than heavenly deities. When the king was enraged, the stars exploded. Legend had it that when many kings fought, they could even shatter an enormous life planet. It was enough to imagine how terrifying kings were. Countless people stood in the void far away, looking at the ancient G.O.D.S. mountain. Boom. That G.O. King made his move again, bombarding the bronze door. Boom. 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 The bronze door emitted a blinding light and blocked the divine king's attack. However, it also caused a terrifying vibration. Lu Ming and the rest stood in the void. The ground of the ancient G.O.D. star was shaking. There were even cracks on the ground that extended into the distance. Countless people present were shocked by the might of the G.O. King. They instinctively retreated a distance and watched from afar. Boom. Boom. The G.O.D. King kept retreating, but it was useless. He couldn't open the bronze door. In fact, bolts of lightning as thick as a mountain shot out from the bronze door and blasted towards the divine king, forcing him to retreat. What a terrifying might! At the sight of the power of the lightning, Lu Ming was filled with fear. The power of the lightning that attacked Qiuqiu earlier was not even 1/10,000th of this. Otherwise, no matter how strong Qiuqiu's vitality was, it would only end up turning into ashes. It seems that you can't do it alone. A voice came from the distant starry sky. When the voice had first sounded, it had still been in the starry sky outside the ancient G.O.D. star's atmosphere. However, by the time it had finished speaking, a figure had already appeared near the G.O.D. king. The aura exuded by this figure was equally terrifying. Without a doubt, he was also a G.O. King expert. You might not be able to open it either. The G.O. King from before coldly snorted. Try it and you'll know. The G.O.D. King behind him said coldly and attacked the ancient G.O.D. gate. A terrifying tremor erupted, but the result was the same as before. The G.O.D. Kings behind couldn't open the gate of ancient G.O.D. As time passed, more and more experts arrived. The major characters of the Qin Heavenly 13 clans arrived one after another. Even the divine kings kept on arriving. And NBSP behind them, the major figures of the three hegemon factions as well as members of the Kong Shen sect and the other sects, had all sent their G.O. kings. Even the Ice Soul clan and the Red Flame clan had sent their important figures. Clearly, the appearance of the ancient G.O.D. sect had already shocked the Qin Heaven star system. However, despite so many forces and experts' repeated attempts, they could not break through the gate of ancient G.O.D. and enter the world beyond it. There's a formation here. Only an expert skilled in formations can open it. A G.O. King said. Following that, the news spread out, and the experts from the Qin Heaven starfield who were proficient in formations also rushed over. This formation is complicated. It'll take at least a few decades to 100 years to break it. Finally, a formation master came to a conclusion. It'll take so many years. It seems like it's impossible to open the bronze door in a short period of time. I thought there would be a show to watch. It'll come back in the future. Many people shook their heads and left the ancient G.O.D. star. It's time for me to leave. This trip can be considered a complete success. Lu Ming pondered for a while, then left the ancient G.O.D. star and headed for the Kong Shen sect. After a long journey, Lu Ming returned to Kong Shen sect. News of what had happened on the ancient G.O.D. star had spread throughout the Qin Heaven star system. Many people in the Kong Shen sect were discussing this matter. However, as time passed, the door still did not open and the popularity slowly diminished. In the Kong Shen sect, most of the discussions were about the sect compat. 1. Time. There were a large number of outer and inner sect disciples in Kong Shen sect. Therefore, a sect compat. 1. Time would be held every once in a while. As long as one could show off their skills in the sect compat. 1. Time, not only would they gain fame, but they would also receive generous rewards. The sect compat. 1. Time was in 3 years' time and many people were already rubbing their fists and wiping their palms, eager to try. However, Lu Ming was not interested in this at all. During this trip to the ancient G.O.D. star, a large group of zone masters had died at his hands. The storage rings of those zone masters had all fallen into Lu Ming's hands, and he had obtained a large number of treasures and divine crystals. Therefore, Lu Ming did not care about the rewards of the sect compat. 1. Time at all. If he had the time, he might as well cultivate. He did not see Qiuyu when he returned to his residence. Lu Ming guessed that Qiuyu was cultivating in the Divine Pulse Tower or some other place. Lu Ming sat cross-legged in the garden, quietly comprehending the battle character formula. Now that his divine body had improved by several times and his battle formula had quadrupled combat power, he could cultivate it. As expected, once his divine body improved, his comprehension of the battle character formula was smooth. Not long after, Lu Ming successfully broke through the bottleneck and cultivated to 4 times his combat power. Boom. Lu Ming's body exuded a strong fighting spirit and his body contained a terrifying power. 4 times the battle power. Lu Ming's eyes shone brightly. Now, his cultivation was at the peak of the second stage of true G.O.D realm. If he were to display 4 times his fighting power, he would definitely be able to defeat or even kill an opponent like Lu Zhong. It's a pity that the chances of triggering a 4-fold increase in combat power are still not high. Lu Ming pondered. He had just made a breakthrough. After Lu Ming's research, the probability of triggering a 4-fold increase in combat power was only 1 in a few dozen. It had to be triggered dozens of times before it could be successfully triggered. However, Lu Ming was full of confidence. As long as he had a deeper understanding of the battle character formula, the chances of triggering it would naturally increase. Just like how his combat strength was doubled or tripled, it would reach a 100% success rate. Someone's coming. Lu Ming ended his cultivation and his expression suddenly changed. He sensed that someone was flying toward his courtyard. Lu Ming opened the door of the courtyard and walked out. He saw 5 figures flying towards him. Wu Zifeng, Yu Linglong. 2 of them were Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong. There were 3 other people who came with Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong, but Lu Ming did not recognize them. It was obvious that a young woman was the leader of the 3. This woman was extremely beautiful and could cause the downfall of a city. This woman, Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. This woman's appearance was somewhat similar to Yue Xin. 2 young men followed behind the woman, protecting her like her bodyguards. Lu Ming, you're finally back from outside. Yu Linglong asked with a smile. I just came back. Is there something you need? Lu Ming said with a smile. My cousin is looking for you. So, we came to find you as soon as we heard that you were back. Yu Linglong said with a smile. Your cousin? Lu Ming's gaze shifted to the young woman. Unfathomable. This was Lu Ming's first impression of the young lady. This young man's cultivation was unfathomable. Lu Ming could not tell how strong he was. Come, let me introduce you. This is my expression Ouyang Qingxiang. She's my Aunt Yuexin's daughter. Yu Linglong said. She's Yuexin's daughter indeed. Lu Ming's heart stirred. When he saw Ouyang Xiangxiang, Lu Ming felt that Ouyang Xiangxiang was somewhat similar to Yue Xin. Yu Linglong also said that she was her cousin, so Lu Ming had such a guess. Discussing cooperation with the Saintess, I'll tell you another piece of news. My cousin is the Saintess of the Kongxian sect. Yu Linglong said with a smile. Holy Maiden. This time Lu Ming was really shocked. Kongxian sect had a total of 5 saint sons and 2 saintesses, and they were all qualified to compete for the position of sect leader. He did not expect Ouyang Qingxiang to be one of the 2 saintesses. Holy Virgin Ouyang, it's an honor to meet you. Lu Ming cupped his fists and greeted him. I've heard about you for a long time, Lu Ming. You entered the Kongxian sect as the top disciple of the Qin Tian 13 clans. When you first entered the Kongxian sect, you were only at the Demi-G.O.D realm. However, in just a few decades, you entered the true G.O.D realm and became an inner sect disciple. Such a cultivation speed is truly shocking. Ouyang Qingxiang smiled. I was just lucky. Lu Ming said a few humble words and changed the topic. I wonder why Holy Virgin Ouyang has come to find me? I won't beat around the bush. I'm here to invite you to join my faction. How about it? Ouyang Qingxiang said. As expected, Lu Ming pursed his lips slightly. Indeed, Ouyang Qingxiang had come to invite him to join her faction. However, Ouyang Qingxiang, the Saintess, had come personally. Her sincerity was not bad. Unfortunately, Lu Ming had no intention of joining any sect. He did not want to listen to anyone's orders. Holy Virgin Ouyang, I'm sorry to disappoint you. I don't plan to join any faction at the moment. Lu Ming said. You don't want to join? Lu Ming, you have to consider it carefully. The Ouyang Holy Maiden was stunned. She did not expect that Lu Ming would reject her when she personally came to invite him. That's right. Lu Ming, you should consider it carefully. My cousin is such a beautiful woman and she's single. Yu Linglong said softly and winked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming touched his nose speechlessly and shook his head. I appreciate your kind intentions, Holy Virgin Ouyang. However, I really have no intention of joining any faction. Little brat, don't be ungrateful. The Saintess has already given you a lot of face by personally coming to invite you, yet you still refuse time and time again. You really don't know what's good for you. That's right. This kid, doesn't he know the situation he's in? The Tianhong sect and the Floating Light sect both want to kill you. Do you know that our holy maiden is taking the risk of falling out with the Tianhong sect and the Floating Light sect by inviting you? Do you understand? The two young men behind Ouyang Qingxiang couldn't hold it in any longer and started to berate her. You two shut up. Ouyang Qingxiang scolded the two young men and made them shut up obediently. Lu Ming, if you don't want to agree, I won't make things difficult for you. I'll take my leave now. Ouyang Xiangxiang cupped her hands. Wait. At that moment, Lu Ming suddenly called out to Ouyang Qingxiang. Ouyang Qingxiang's eyes lit up. She thought that Lu Ming had changed his mind. Holy Virgin Ouyang, although Lu Ming has no intention of joining your faction, it's still possible for us to work together. Lu Ming said. Cooperation. Ouyang Xiangxiang was slightly taken aback. That's right, cooperation. Well, cooperate. Lu Ming nodded again. Kid. The two young men behind Ouyang Qingxiang couldn't hold it in any longer. One of them shouted, Brat, who do you think you are? How dare you talk about cooperating with the Holy Maiden? Do you really think you're the #1 figure? That's right. Our saintess controls a faction, countless experts and countless resources. What are you? What qualifications do you have to cooperate with our Holy Maiden? Why don't you take A.P.I.S. and look at the reflection? Ridiculous, simply ridiculous. The two young men looked at Lu Ming with disdain and contempt. You two stop talking. Ouyang Xiangxiang glanced at the two young men in dissatisfaction. Lu Ming smiled faintly and could not be bothered with the two young men. He looked at Ouyang Qingxiang and said, Holy Virgin Ouyang, you have to consider this carefully. Lu Ming's expression was calm and full of confidence. Ouyang Xiangxiang was in deep thought. But the two young men couldn't take it anymore. How arrogant. I'd like to see what qualifications you have to be so confident. What qualifications do you have to talk about cooperation with the saint? A young man roared and stepped forward, a powerful aura erupting from his body. He raised his hand and the thick divine power condensed into a huge hand, which pressed down on Lu Ming. Ouyang Qingxiang's eyes flickered, but she did not stop him. She also wanted to see how strong Lu Ming's combat strength was. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng wanted to stop it, but it was too late. Stage 7 True G.O.D. Realm. This young man's cultivation was at the 7th stage of True G.O.D. Realm, and he was a heaven's favorite with extremely powerful combat strength. A huge palm print pressed down on Lu Ming. Whoosh. Lu Ming pointed his finger and a stream of finger force, like a spear's gleam, attacked the palm print. The palm print was directly penetrated by the finger force and collapsed. The young man was shocked. He did not expect Lu Ming to break his move so easily. Take this. Horn Dragon Divine Seal. The young man roared and activated a divine skill to the extreme, blasting it at Lu Ming with great power. However, the young man's cultivation was only at the 7th stage True G.O.D. Realm after all. No matter how strong his combat strength was, Lu Ming did not take him seriously. It's my turn now. Lu Ming's cold voice was heard. A long spear appeared and swept out. Boom. When the young man's huge seal collided with the spear light, it emitted a dazzling light and then shattered. The spear light did not stop and continued to press down on the young man. Bang. The young man was sent flying by the spear light and he coughed up a large amount of blood. This battle strength. Ouyang Xiangxiang's beautiful eyes were filled with shock. Lu Ming's combat strength had completely exceeded her expectations. A 2nd stage True G.O.D. actually completely crushed a 7th stage True G.O.D. Heaven's favorite. This kind of fighting power could be said to be terrifying. This guy has become even stronger. Even though Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng knew how terrifying Lu Ming was, they could not help but sigh. The other young man behind Ouyang Qingxiang was almost scared to death. He stared at Lu Ming with a pale face. Do you still want to try? Lu Ming looked at the young man and said coldly. The young man shivered and broke out in a cold sweat. He did not dare to step forward. His combat strength was only on par with the young man from before. He would still be crushed by Lu Ming if he went up. Impressive, impressive. Brother Lu's combat strength is unrivaled. I've seen many geniuses, but I've never seen a genius like Brother Lu. Ouyang Xiangxiang sighed repeatedly. Now, are you qualified to cooperate with the Holy Maiden? Lu Ming smiled. Of course you're qualified. If Brother Lu isn't, who is? Ouyang Qingxiang said. Although Lu Ming's current ability was strong, Ouyang Qingxiang did not take him seriously. What she valued was Lu Ming's potential. Lu Ming was so talented. If he grew up, he would definitely have a place in the Kongshen sect. It was not impossible for him to break through to the sky's celestial realm and become the 8th saint of the Kongshen sect. Chapter 2784 Gathering of Saints. But, I'm afraid that some of the heaven's favorites under the saintess will be unconvinced and object. Lu Ming smiled as if he was implying something. Why would I? Ouyang Qingxiang smiled and turned to the two young men. Her face darkened. You two apologize to Brother Lu. Her voice was cold and stern, exuding a sense of majesty. The two young men's expressions were ugly. They walked toward Lu Ming with their heads lowered and bowed. We were blind before. Please forgive us and don't lower yourself to our level. It doesn't matter. Lu Ming waved his hand. Holy Virgin Ouyang, let's work together. I believe that you won't regret your decision today. I've never regretted anything I've done. Ouyang Qingxiang smiled, and the two of them chatted for a while before Ouyang Qingxiang took her leave. Lu Ming, you're getting more and more powerful. We're no longer your match now. Yu Linglong pouted and said, I'm surprised by your cultivation. Lu Ming sized up Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng curiously. Their auras were extremely robust and their cultivation had clearly reached the 4th stage of true G.O.D realm. It should be known that when they were in the Dark Dragon secret land, the two of them had just broken through to the 1st stage of true G.O.D realm not long ago. In just a few years, the two of them had broken through to the 4th stage of true G.O.D realm. Such a cultivation speed could be said to be shocking. Lu Ming had the help of the Quant 1 Tai formula and a series of fortuitous encounters to achieve his current cultivation. He did not expect that Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng's cultivation speed was not slower than his. Some time ago, Zifeng and I went back to his hometown and did some ghost-like training. I thought I could far surpass you, but I didn't expect you to be so abnormal. Yu Linglong said helplessly. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. It seemed that Wu Zifeng's background was not simple. By the way, Lu Ming, Kongshen sect's intersect tournament is about to begin. Are you going to partake? 1 P8? Yu Linglong asked. I'm not partake. 1 P8ing. I'm not interested. Lu Ming shook his head. That's a pity. If you were to partake 1 P8, you would probably surprise everyone. Yu Linglong's face was full of pity. Yu Linglong's face was full of pity. Both of them chatted for a while before Yu Linglong and Lu Ming bade them farewell and left. Lu Ming returned to his room and continued cultivating. The sect tournament of the Kongshen sect was a grand event for the sect because it was a combat 1 tie-in between the 7 factions of the Holy Sons and Holy Virgins. Each sect had many outer and inner disciples. In the sect combat 1 tie-in, which faction had the upper hand and which faction was stronger played a vital role in the future development of that faction. Some new disciples would make their choice according to the strength of their faction. It would even affect the opinions of some of the higher-ups in the sect, and it would have a significant impact on the future combat. 1 tie-in for the position of sect master for a certain Holy Son or Holy Virgin. All the major factions placed great importance on this. Therefore, in the past few years, the genius disciples of the various sects had all returned to the Kongshen sect to increase their strength and wait for the sect combat. 1 tie-in. The Tianhong Saint Sons faction and the Transient Light Saint Sons faction also put Lu Ming's matter aside for the time being and focused on preparing for the Kongshen sect's intersect combat. 1 tie-in. Lu Ming paid no attention to the outside world and focused on cultivation. Time flew by and 3 years passed, set in a flash. The sect combat 1 tie-in was about to begin. What was worth mentioning was that in these 3 years, Lu Ming's cultivation had advanced another step and he had reached the 3rd stage of true G.O.D. At the ancient G.O.D.S mountain, Lu Ming had absorbed the energy of countless ancient G.O.D. flowers and condensed the heart of the ancient G.O.D. His cultivation had also advanced to the peak of the 2nd stage of true G.O.D. He was only 1 step away from the 3rd stage of true G.O.D. After 3 years of cultivation, his cultivation level had finally improved, and his combat strength had increased by another level. Of course, his divine body was constantly improving under the nourishment of the ancient G.O.D.S heart. Although the speed wasn't fast, the effect would be shocking in the long run. Most importantly, he didn't need to spend time and effort to cultivate it, and it would naturally strengthen. This was the terrifying part of the ancient G.O.D heart. At that moment, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng came to look for Lu Ming. Lu Ming, are you really not going to partake? 1 8 in the sect compat. 1. Tian? Yu Linglong asked again. Am not partic. 1. P. Aiding I have no interest. Lu Ming shook his head. Then let's go and take a look. All the experts from the 7 major sects have come out. Many of the experts on the real D ranking list will fight. It will definitely be very intense. I wasn't even born in the previous sect compat. 1. Tian. Yu Linglong said. Kong Xian sect's intersect tournament did not have a fixed interval. Sometimes, it was held every 10,000 years and sometimes, it could be held every few 100,000 years. The last sect compat. 1. Tian had been over 80,000 years ago. Real D ranking list? Lu Ming's gaze flickered. The true D gang, as its name suggested, listed a group of the strongest true D level people. However, it was completely different from the virtual D ranking list. The virtual D ranking was only a ranking list in the Kong Xian sect, and it listed the strongest virtual D powerhouses in the sect. As for the Real D ranking list, it wasn't limited to the Kong Xian sect. It would be faced with the Qin Heaven 13 clans. On the true D ranking list, there were a total of 100 top experts in the true D realm. They were all from the Qin Heaven 13 clans. Without a doubt, this ranking list had a huge influence in the Qin Heaven Star region. Those who could be listed on the Real D ranking list were all top experts in the Real D realm. Lu Ming was also very curious. How was his current combat strength compared to the top experts of the true DS gang? Alright, let's go and take a look together. Lu Ming nodded. Then he, Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong headed in the direction of the sect compat. 1. Tian. The location of the sect compat. 1. Tian was in the middle of the inner and outer sect area. There was a vast piece of land here which was very suitable for the compat. 1. Tian. In the middle of the openness, there was a huge fighting ring. At this moment, the fighting ring was surrounded by people. Lu Ming and the group flew over and blended into the crowd, not attracting much attention. The Tianhong Saint's son is here. Suddenly, someone shouted and everyone looked in one direction. Lu Ming also looked over curiously. A group of people flew over. The leader was a young man in luxurious clothes. He had an blee aura and a confident smile on his face, as if he had everything under control. The people around him were all elites. They were all geniuses from the Tianhong Saint's son's faction. Is this the Tianhong Saint's son? Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a cold glint. Lu Zhong was from the Tianhong Saint's son's faction. The enmity between him and the Tianhong Saint's son's faction was growing. He felt that he would have to fight the Tianhong Saint's son sooner or later. The sacred son of reflection is here too. Suddenly someone shouted. Sure enough, another group of people flew over from another direction. The one in the lead was a young man in a white shirt and white pants. His long hair fluttered in the wind and he was handsome. This person had an extraordinary bearing. He was the sacred son of reflection. The people following the sacred son of reflection were all geniuses. Lu Ming saw Huang Wen among them. The Supreme Saint, the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction and the Sacred Son of Floating Lights faction faced each other from a distance. Powerful battle intent filled the air. The combat. 1. Tian had yet to begin, but the scene was already filled with the smell of gunpowder. My cousin is here. Yu Linglong cried out happily. Holy Maiden Qingxiang is here. Then someone shouted. In unison, everyone's eyes turned to look into the distance, especially the male disciples whose eyes were glowing. In the distance, a group of people flew over. This group of people was mostly female disciples with only a few male disciples. Many of the female disciples were extremely beautiful. No wonder many of the male disciples' eyes were shining. The person in the lead was Ouyang Qingxiang. Is that Holy Maiden Qingxiang? She's indeed a national beauty. She's so beautiful. She's truly a peerless beauty. Many of the outer sect disciples had never seen Ouyang Qingxiang before, and their eyes were all shining. The Tianhong Saint's son and the Transient Light Saint's son also looked toward Ouyang Qingxiang, their eyes burning. Bus, and NBSP whoosh. In the distance, people kept flying over. The other holy sons and holy virgins also arrived one by one. Holy Sun Jixia led his sect's people here. The Yan Kong Saint's son had led his faction here. Holy Maiden Xuetan also led her faction to the battlefield. Soon, 6 of the 7 holy sons and holy virgins of the Kangxian sect arrived. Without a doubt, they were all unparalleled geniuses and unfathomable. There's also the Supreme Holy Son. I wonder if he'll personally come this time? It's hard to say. The Supreme Holy Son is the strongest of all the Holy Sons. The Supreme Holy Son's faction is also the strongest of all the Holy Sons. The Supreme Holy Son didn't appear in the last sect compat. 1. Tian. I hope that the Supreme Holy Son can show himself. He's my idol. Many people were discussing this. Among the 7 holy sons and holy virgins of the Kangxian sect, the Supreme Holy Son was undoubtedly the strongest and the most promising one to inherit the position of sect leader in the future. Therefore, the Supreme Holy Son's faction was also the strongest. In the last sect compat. 1. Tian, the Supreme Saint didn't appear, but his sect still dominated, suppressing the other sects of the Saint and Saintess. 2248 in the last sect compat. 1. Tian, the Supreme Saint didn't appear, but his sect still dominated, suppressing the other sects of the Saint and Saintess. The people from the Supreme Saint's faction are here. Someone shouted. A group of people flew over from the north. There were many of them, far more than the other holy sons and holy virgins. Then, the Supreme Holy Son? It's really the Supreme Holy Son. The Supreme Holy Son has personally appeared. Someone exclaimed in excitement. The Supreme Saint. Lu Ming's gaze also looked over. A large group of people was flying in their direction. However, Lu Ming noticed a young man in the middle with one glance. This young man was tall and burly. His eyes were like stars and his face was as sharp as a knife. He was full of dignity and had an air of supremacy. Lu Ming knew that this person must be the Supreme Holy Son without anyone saying anything. As soon as the Supreme Saint Son arrived, the Tianhong Saint Son, the Transient Light Saint Son, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the others all looked grave as if they were facing a great enemy. The people from the Supreme Holy Son's faction stood at the side and waited in silence. In just a short moment, many figures flew out from the depths of the inner gate area. The sect master of Kangxian sect, Long Zhoushan, had arrived. There were also some inner sect elders who arrived. Now, the number of people is almost here. I announced that the sect compat. 1. Tian has officially begun. Just like the previous years, the outer sect disciples will first compete on the stage. The higher the ranking, the richer the rewards. Now, for the outer sect disciples who have registered, I will draw lots to decide their opponents. An inner sect elder landed on the fighting ring and announced the rules of the compat. 1. Tian. Then he drew lots to start the compat. 1. Tian. First, the outer sect disciples took action, and the fierce battle began. However, Lu Ming was not very interested in the compat. 1. Tian between outer disciples. Moreover, there weren't many experts worth paying attention to. People like Wing Demon, Fengyuan Dao, and Madman, who used to be in the top 10 of the virtual G.O.D. ranking list, had already broken through the true G.O.D. realm and become inner disciples. Now, there were fewer talents in the outer sect and there was a shortage of new talents. However, many people were still watching the battle seriously, especially those from the factions of the 7 saints and saintesses. They were looking at the geniuses from the outer sect. If they didn't join any factions, they could come out and invite them. The compat. 1. Tian between the outer sect disciples lasted for half a month before it finally ended. After that, it was time for the compat. 1. Tian between the inner disciples. The inner sect disciples compat. 1. Tian was the real highlight and would attract a lot of attention. Of course, not all inner sect disciples had to partake. 1. P8. The rule was that only true G.O.D. realm experts had to partake. 1. P8. When one reached the heavenly G.O.D. realm, because the number was too small and they were too strong, they didn't need to partake. 1. P8. The battle between the true G.O.D. realm experts, each major sect sent their true G.O.D. realm experts. It was indeed very exciting. Lu Ming was also dazzled by the scene. There were all sorts of different races, all sorts of divine skills, and even all sorts of secret arts. All of them had extraordinary power and all sorts of divine abilities. However, on the whole, it was still the Supreme Holy Son's faction that suppressed the others. In the end, all the major sects finally sent their top experts on the Real G.O.D. ranking list. There were only 100 people on the Real G.O.D. ranking list. When they were split among the Qin Heaven 13 clans, each clan had less than 10 people. Moreover, the number of people on the Real G.O.D. D ranking list had always been dominated by the three overlords. Kangxian sect had a total of 8 people on the Real G, O, D ranking list. These 8 people were all from the 7 Saint and Saintess factions. The other 6 Holy Sons and Holy Virgins had 1 each, while the Supreme Holy Sons faction had 2. Boom. Boom. In the fighting ring, 2 top experts on Real G, O, D ranking list were fighting fiercely and colliding continuously. The experts on Real G, O, D ranking list are indeed shockingly powerful. Lu Ming looked at it carefully and sighed in his heart. The 2 people on the fighting ring were both stronger than Lu Zhong. One should know that Lu Zhong had been at the peak of the true G, O, D realm for countless years. He had cultivated quite a few divine skills to the peak of the 4th stage and controlled king-grade divine power, so his combat strength was not weak. However, both of them were above the music. The Real G, O, D ranking list listed the strongest group of people in the Real G, O, D stage, and it was not just for show. One of them was from the Tianhong Saint Sons faction, while the other was from the Wuxia Saint Sons faction. The 2 of them exchanged hundreds of moves. In the end, the expert from the Tianhong Saint Sons sect won by a slight margin and defeated the other party. The Tianhong Saint Sun smiled, while the Wuxia Saint Sun looked gloomy. The combat 1. Time continued, and it was already at the final stage. It was all the battles between experts on the Real G, O, D ranking list, and every match was extremely exciting. A few more days pass, said before the combat 1. Time finally ended. This time, it was still the Supreme Holy Sons faction that suppressed everyone else and took first place in overall strength. There was one person from the Supreme Saint Sons faction who was terrifyingly powerful. He was ranked 6th on the Real G, O, D ranking list. The top 10 of the Real G, O, D ranking list were mostly occupied by the 3 overlord forces. They were ranked 6th on the Real G, O, D ranking list, which showed how powerful they were. This person was the number 1 true G, O, D expert of the Kangxian sect, and there was no doubt that the Supreme Holy Sons faction would be the number 1. Bestowing Lu Ming with the Tlea of Saint the combat 1. Time was over and the rewards were given out. After this battle, the prestige of the Supreme Holy Sons faction naturally rose to another level. No one could compare to it. The other Holy Sons and Holy Virgins all looked solemn. If this continued, the position of the future sect master would probably fall to the Supreme Holy Son. I must get that thing. That way I will be able to fight against the Supreme Holy Son. The Tianhong Saint Sun clenched his fists. Alright, I hereby announce that the sect combat 1. Time has officially ended. The sect leader of Kangxian sect, Long Zhousan's voice resounded throughout the entire area. However, he paused for a moment before he continued, however, I still have a big announcement to make today. There's something big to announce? Many people were stunned and revealed curious expressions. Even most of the inner sect elders revealed curious expressions. It was obvious that they didn't know what Dragon Boat Mountain was going to announce. Today I'm going to confer a new Saint Tlea. The voices of Dragon Boat Mountain rang out together. What? A new Holy Son? He's going to be made a saint? This is a big deal, but there hasn't been anyone suitable for it recently. That's right. The only suitable candidate is the number 2 figure from the Supreme Holy Sons faction. Is he going to be independent? The Dragon Boats Mountain's words caused the entire place to clamor. Everyone was speculating who the Dragon Boats Mountain was going to confer as the son of saint. It was not that easy to become a saint. First, one had to be a heavenly G, O, D, and the divine power they could control had to be above the divine grade. Only by fulfilling these 2 conditions would one be qualified. And now, there was only one person who fulfilled these 2 conditions, and that was the second in command of the Supreme Sect. This person was also a peerless genius. Back then, he had the opportunity to be conferred the Tlea of Saint. However, he gave up the position of saint and sided with the Supreme Saint. This caused a huge uproar back then. The 7 Holy Sons and Holy Virgins also frowned. The 8th saint was about to appear. Canonizing a son was a big deal. It meant that their combat 1. Time would be even greater. Furthermore, every additional son would have a huge impact on the current situation. Everyone was trying to guess who the Dragon Boats Mountain was going to confer upon as their saint. However, they didn't feel confident. Then, everyone's gazes fell on Dragon Boat Mountain, waiting for their answer. The dragon boats stood high in the sky and looked around. Their gaze finally landed on Lu Ming and they said loudly, The Holy Sun I'm going to confer on him is Lu Ming. As he said that, Dragon Boat Mountain pointed at Lu Ming. Everyone's eyes were focused on Lu Ming. Then the entire place fell into a dead silence. Lu Ming was also dumbfounded. He had never expected that the new saint that Dragon Boat Mountain was going to confer upon him would actually be him. Initially, just like the others, he was curious to know who the newly conferred sun was. He did not expect it to be him. For a moment he couldn't quite wrap his head around it. Lu Ming, this is a mission I'm giving you. You must accept the position of the Holy Sun. Lu Ming heard the voice of the Dragon Boat Mountain. What the hell is this old man doing? Lu Ming finally calmed down slowly and his mind was racing. He didn't think that Dragon Boat's Mountain had good intentions. This old fellow had placed the dark dragon blood curse in his body, so he definitely didn't have good intentions. Lu Ming, you've become a saint. Oh, you're awesome, brother. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng were also dumbfounded and could not recover from their shock for a long time. It's him. Is he the son that the sect master is going to confer on you? Everyone stared at Lu Ming, dumbfounded. The key is, who is he? Yeah, I've never seen him before. Many people shouted. After all, Lu Ming had only joined the Kongshen sect for a few decades, while many people would go into seclusion for hundreds or thousands of years. Most people had not seen Lu Ming before. It's him. I know him. He just entered the sect decades ago. What? He was conferred the Tlea of Holy Sun when he just entered the sect decades ago. You must be joking. Shush. Lower your voice. Be careful not to be heard by the sect master. But how is this kid qualified to be the saint? The scene was in an uproar. Lu Ming, a person who had just joined the sect a few decades ago, was actually conferred the Tlea of Saint. What was going on? It's this brat, the Tianhong Saint's son, the Transient Light Saint's son, and the others all glared at Lu Ming with sword-like eyes. Sect master, this subordinate feels that this matter is inappropriate. At this moment an old man walked out and cupped his fists towards the Dragon Boat Mountain. What's wrong with it? Dragon Boat Mountain said indifferently. Lu Ming has only joined the sect for a few decades. His current cultivation base has only broken through to true G. Oh. D not long ago. No matter how you look at it, he doesn't have the right to confer the Tlea of a saint. The old man said. The elder was an inner elder and Ing Tsang's master. He was from the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction. Ing Tsang, the heaven's favorite who was ranked 4th on the virtual D ranking list, had been secretly taken in as a disciple by this person. Later on he was killed by Lu Ming in the Dark Dragon secret realm, and this person had always hated Lu Ming. Since Dragon Boat's Mountain wanted to confer Lu Ming the Tlea of the Holy Sun, he naturally had to step out and oppose it. That's right, sect master, you must not do this. Following that, a few more inner court elders stepped forward to object. It was obvious that these inner elders all belonged to the factions of the Holy Sons and Holy Virgins. Are you all doubting me? Dragon Boat Mountain said indifferently, yet he had a terrifying might. The few inner court elders were shocked and quickly said, I'm not questioning you, sect master. It's just that the appointment of a saint is a big matter after all. Sect master should consider it carefully. That's right. The sect leader, Holy Sun and Holy Virgin are all peerless geniuses. Not everyone is suitable and qualified. The Tianhong Saint Sun stepped forward and bowed to the Dragon Boat Mountain. Tianhong is right. To become the Holy Sun, 2 conditions must be met. First, one must master the divine grade divine power. Second, one must reach the heavenly G. O. D realm. Lu Ming is only at the true G. O. D realm. How can he be qualified to be the Holy Sun? Sect leader, please retract your order. The sacred Son of Reflection also stepped out and cupped his fists. Dragon Boat Mountain frowned. In the Kongshen sect, the status of the Holy Sons and Holy Virgins was even higher than that of the inner elders. The Holy Sons and Holy Virgins were all peerless geniuses. It wouldn't be a problem for them to step into the Divine King realm and become the overlord of a region. Their words would carry much more weight than the inner sect elders. After that, the Saint Sun Jixia, the Saint Sun Yen Kong, and the Saint Daughter Shuetan all spoke, persuading the Dragon Boat Mountain to take back their orders. Only 2 of the 7 Holy Sons and Holy Virgins didn't speak. The first was the Supreme Holy Sun. He only sized Lu Ming up curiously, his eyes glistening, but he did not say anything. Naturally, Ouyang Xiangxiang would not say much. She and Lu Ming were partners. If Lu Ming could become the saint, he would be of greater help to her. She hoped that Lu Ming would become the saint. Chapter 2787 Can even fight true G. Oh. DS Lu Ming looked on quietly and did not say a word. He had been thinking about the purpose of Dragon Boat Mountain's actions. The Dragon Boat's intention was to push him into the eye of the storm and put pressure on him so that he could improve even faster and then work for him? Lu Ming felt that this was the most likely possibility. Are you guys doubting my judgment? Dragon Boat Mountain said indifferently, his voice turning cold. The Tianhong Saint's son, the sacred son of reflection, and the others didn't say anything else, but their expressions said it all. They opposed it. Alright, since that's the case, I'll give you a chance. Dragon Boat Mountain's gaze became incomparably sharp as he said, each of your major sects can send a true God stage expert to challenge Lu Ming. If anyone can defeat Lu Ming, I will retract my order and cancel the T.I. If no true God can defeat Lu Ming, then Lu Ming will become the new Holy Sun. Do you have any objections? The Dragon Boat Mountain's words caused many people's hearts to tremble. All the true GODs from the major sects could challenge Lu Ming. If they won, Lu Ming would not be able to become the saint. What is Lu Ming's cultivation level? Someone quickly asked. I've seen it. It's 3rd stage true GOD. Someone said. Those whose cultivation levels were much higher than Lu Ming's could still tell Lu Ming's cultivation level at a glance. Only at stage 3 true GOD realm? With such a low cultivation, any true GOD realm expert should be able to defeat him. That's right, it's strange. What does Sect Master mean by this condition? We definitely can't win against Lu Ming. Strange, this is strange. Many people were puzzled. Dragon Boat's Mountain seemed to want to confer Lu Ming the T of the Holy Sun. However, the conditions that they offered clearly showed that they did not want Lu Ming to be the Holy Sun. No one would think that a stage 3 true GOD could win against those true GOD geniuses from the 7 great factions. What a joke. Stage 3 real GOD was just a low-rank real GOD. How could he compete with those middle-rank and high-rank real GODs? Especially when the 7 major sects had experts on the real GOD ranking list. Those existences could kill Lu Ming with one finger. There was no comparison at all. The eyes of the Tianhong Saint's son, the Transient Light Saint's son, and the others also lit up. Although they knew that Lu Ming's combat strength was very strong, there was a limit to it. He could not possibly be a match for those high-level true GODs. From their point of view, Dragon Boat Mountain's actions were only to give them a way out. Alright, I agree to this suggestion. I also agree. The Tianhong Saint's son and the Transient Light Saint's son immediately expressed their opinions. The other Holy Sons and Holy Virgins also agreed. Lu Ming, do you dare to accept my challenge? Dragon Boat Mountain's gaze landed on Lu Ming again. Why wouldn't I? Lu Ming said loudly. Since things had come to this, it was obvious that the Dragon Boat's Mountain wanted him to take over the position of the Holy Sun. He would take it then. Lu Ming was not someone who was afraid of trouble. Whoa, this guy really dares to accept the challenge. He's really not afraid of death. Even if he doesn't die, he'll be abused. There's a good show to watch. Many people sneered and looked like they were watching a good show. Lu Ming, good luck. I hope you can successfully become a saint. Yu Linglong waved her fists and cheered for Lu Ming. Brother Lu, you can definitely do it. Wu Zifeng also patted Lu Ming's shoulder. They had seen Lu Ming suppress Ouyang Qingxiang's 2 subordinates. They were extremely powerful. If Lu Ming were to take action, he might have a chance of winning. Sect Master, can we fight to the death in this battle? The Tianhong Saint's son said, his eyes filled with cold killing intent. Since you want to fight, then let's fight to the death. Dragon Boat Mountain said. Regardless of life and death, that meant that he could kill. This kid is finished. Many people looked at him with pity, thinking that Lu Ming was dead for sure. I'm going to fight this kid. A voice was heard. A young man from the Sacred Son of Floating Lights faction stepped down and landed on the fighting ring. It's Huang Wen. Huang Wen is about to make his move. Someone shouted. That's right, this person was Huang Wen. Huang Wen is at the 8th stage of true GOD realm. To deal with a mere 3rd stage true GOD, once he makes a move, he uses an 8th stage true GOD. This is also making a mountain out of a molehill. He's indeed making a mountain out of a molehill. However, I heard that Huang Wen has a grudge against Lu Ming. I guess that's why he took action. I see. He's trying to seize the opportunity to kill Lu Ming. Many people were discussing. Big brother, kill him for me, ha ha ha. In the crowd, Huang Wu roared in his heart as if he could already see the scene of Huang Wen killing Lu Ming. Boom. Huang Wen landed on the fighting ring. He exuded a powerful aura that pressed down on Lu Ming. Kid, how do you want to die? Speak. Huang Wen's cold voice sounded. He was full of confidence in himself. He was also a genius. Moreover, his cultivation had reached stage 8 true G.O.D. Dealing with a stage 3 true G.O.D. was absolutely a matter of certainty. Unfortunately, he did not know that 2 of the floating light Saint Sun sect's elites had already died at Lu Ming's hands. He did not know that Li Zhong had also died at Lu Ming's hands. They only knew that Lu Ming had gone out for a while and returned safely. They did not know that those people had been killed by Lu Ming. They only thought that those people had not found Lu Ming. If he had known that Lu Ming had already killed those people, Huang Wen would not have been so confident. You talk too much. Make your move. I'll give you your last chance. Lu Ming said indifferently. Big words, storm fist. Huang Wen shouted coldly and threw a punch at Lu Ming. With a punch, a rumbling explosion came from the sky. It was like a huge wave that surged toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's expression was calm. He condensed a long spear with divine power in his palm. 5 divine flames burned fiercely. Endless divine power gathered in the long spear and he swept it out. Boom, boom, boom. A giant spear light shot into the sky and collided with Huang Wen's 10,000 wave fist force, creating a deafening explosion. Following that, Huang Wen's fist force trembled continuously and was crushed by the spear radiance. Huang Wen's expression changed drastically as he retreated to the edge of the fighting ring before he stopped. Many people were dumbfounded as if they had seen a ghost. This situation was completely different from what they had expected. They had expected Huang Wen to crush Lu Ming. However, they did not expect that Lu Ming would be able to push Huang Wen back with a single strike. How could the fighting power of a 3rd stage true G.O.D. be strong to this extent? In it? Huang Wen roared in his heart. His expression was extremely gloomy. Lu Ming's combat strength had exceeded his expectations. Just this bit of strength? If you have any G.O.D. skills that you haven't used yet, use them quickly. This is your last chance. Lu Ming said indifferently, his face full of disdain. You're looking for death. I'll let you see my true strength, vast wave saber technique. Huang Wen roared. He took out a saber and charged at Lu Ming with all his might. With a slash, 10,000 layers of blade waves appeared in the void. They stacked on top of each other and headed toward Lu Ming. This was Huang Wen's trump card unique skill. Its power was extremely strong. When he executed it with his strength, ordinary stage 9 true G.O.D. would be killed by him. Chapter 2788 Devil Curse, 3 Apocalyptic Strikes, Break the Sky. Lu Ming's combat strength doubled and he used the first move of the 3 Apocalyptic Strikes, Sky Piercer. A ray of spear light shot up into the sky and was extremely bright. Bang, bang, bang. Huang Wen's 10,000 blade waves shattered one after another. In the end, the spear's light charged forward and clashed with the yellow text. In the next moment, all the energy fluctuations disappeared. The long spear in Lu Ming's hand also disappeared without a trace. Lu Ming landed on the fighting ring, his face expressionless. As for Huang Wen, his eyes were wide open in disbelief. A-B-L-O-O-D-Y hole appeared between his brows and the front and back of the hole were bright. The light in his eyes quickly disappeared and so did his life force. Huang Wen fell onto the fighting ring, no longer showing any signs of life. Huang Wen was dead. Most of the people present were dumbfounded. Huang Wen was actually killed by Lu Ming. This was beyond most people's expectations. A stage 3 true G.O.D. actually counter-killed a stage 8 true G.O.D. genius. This was also too exaggerated. Freak. Lu Ming is a freak. He's too abnormal. No wonder the sect master named him the saint. His combat strength is so terrifying. Many people mumbled to themselves. They finally understood why Dragon Boat Mountain had conferred Lu Ming the title of saint. Lu Ming was a freak. Without a doubt, the divine power he controlled was definitely divine grade or above. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to be so powerful. When he became a celestial G.O.D. and a holy sun, it was a sure thing. In it. The floating light holy sun's eyes were cold. Huang Wen's death had caused him to lose a great general. Big brother? In the crowd, Huang Wu let out a mournful scream. His face was as pale as snow, and his face was filled with fear. In the outer sect of Kongshen sect, he could get whatever he wanted because of his big brother, Huang Wen. Now that Huang Wen was dead, who else could he rely on? He knew that his future days would be difficult. Clean up the fighting stage. Dragon Boat Mountain instructed, and immediately, someone went down to collect Huang Wen's corpse. Who else of you wants to fight? Lu Ming's gaze shifted to the people from the 7 major factions. Amoing, go and kill him. The Tianhong Saint's son instructed a young man behind him. This kid won't live. A black-robed young man behind the Great Hong Divine Son said coldly. He took a step forward and landed on the fighting ring. It's him, Amoing. The Tianhong Saint's son sent this person directly. It looks like he's determined to win. Many people were slightly shocked. In the previous sect compet, 1. Tian Amoing had displayed shocking power. Although he was not as good as the 8 top experts on the Real G.O.D ranking list, he was not too far off. Mo Ying's cultivation was at stage 9 true G.O. Brat, your strength is indeed powerful. I'm indeed surprised that you could kill Huang Wen at the 3rd stage of true G.O.D realm. However, your life should end here. The specter said coldly. Huang Wen said the same thing before. Then he died. Lu Ming's simple reply made the specter's face sink. Don't compare me to that trash, kill. The specter shouted and charged toward Lu Ming. However, it suddenly disappeared when it was halfway there. A speed type G.O. delay skill? No, this is a secret technique. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. A long spear appeared in his hand and he swept it in all directions. The spear radiance crushed over, but there was no trace of the demonic shadow. Whoosh. Suddenly, a sharp whistling sound came from behind Lu Ming. The specter was attacking him. The other party had unknowingly appeared behind Lu Ming. Get lost. Lu Ming shouted in a low voice and his divine power gushed out like a wave. With a wave of his hand, dozens of spear gleams pierced out in all directions. Clang. An explosion was heard in one of the directions, and a figure was sent flying. It's no use. Die. The specter's figure flickered continuously. In an instant, hundreds of figures appeared on the fighting ring, circling Lu Ming. From time to time, a figure would rush toward Lu Ming, but he would always be repelled. You don't seem to be able to defeat me like this. Lu Ming sneered. Is that so? Suddenly, hundreds of figures stopped at the same time and gathered into one. My setup is complete. Lu Ming, go to H.L. Curse of the devil. Die. The specter shouted coldly. A thick black aura emanated from his body. His hands kept forming seals. In the next moment, a burst of energy suddenly burst out from Lu Ming's body. This energy was extremely evil. He did not know when it had rushed into Lu Ming's body. At this moment, it exploded and formed pitch black and menacing ghostly shadows. They roared in Lu Ming's body, wanting to devour his flesh and blood. The fiend shadow planted the fiend G.O.D ghost curse. This kid is dead for sure. The Tianhong Saint's son sneered. The floating light Saint's son, the Jixia Saint's son, and the others all looked on coldly. Lu Ming. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng couldn't help but feel worried. Ha, Lu Ming, go to H.L. The specter laughed wildly. No one in the true G.O.D realm would be able to break the curse. Even the experts on the real G.O.D ranking list would be in danger if they were planted. Was it planted during the collision? Lu Ming muttered. Previously, the other party had collided with him continuously. Every time they collided, Lu Ming could feel a weak wisp of energy rushing into his body. As the force was not strong, Lu Ming was not too concerned. Now that he thought about it, it must be the curse of the devil. This kind of devil G.O.D ghost curse was similar to the dark dragon blood curse cast by the Dragon Boat Mountain, but its power was 108,000 miles apart. My lord. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He unleashed his ruler's divine power at full force and enveloped the demon G.O.D ghost curse. Chi-Chi and NBSP, the ghostly figures, were like ice that had met fire. They immediately began to sizzle and quickly melt. How could you? How did you break my devil curse? The specter suddenly cried out in disbelief. You're using such an insignificant skill to embarrass yourself. Lu Ming said indifferently. His body swayed as he cast the 9 heavenly Kunping technique and charged at the demonic shadow. Even if you break my devil curse, you can't kill me. The demonic shadow roared, his eyes filled with ferocity. He turned into many figures and filled the fighting ring. Is that so? Lu Ming's figure suddenly landed on the fighting ring. An extremely cold divine force spread out from his feet and covered the entire fighting ring in an instant, freezing it. In an instant, the fighting ring turned into a world of ice. Mo Ying's body suddenly froze. His feet were frozen, and the hundreds of figures on the fighting ring disappeared. This is cold divine power. How did this kid manage to cultivate cold divine power? Could it be that he has already cultivated the ultimate cold divine technique to its peak? But he's only been in the sect for a few decades. Many of the inner sect elders were shocked. The divine power that Lu Ming used previously was not the ultimate cold divine power. Could it be that Lu Ming had cultivated some kind of secret skill that concealed the elemental aura of the divine power? But even so, how could Lu Ming have cultivated the divine power of ultimate frost in just a few decades? Fighting an expert on Real G.O.D. ranking list, don't tell me? Many people sized up the Dragon Boats Mountain and could not help but guess the relationship between Lu Ming and the Dragon Boats Mountain. Could it be that the Dragon Boats Mountain had already imparted the ultimate cold divine art to Lu Ming? Otherwise they would never believe that Lu Ming could cultivate the ultimate cold divine technique to the peak in just a few decades. In the Kongshen sect, there were also people who had cultivated the ultimate cold divine technique to its peak and successfully cultivated the ultimate cold divine power. However, it required extremely high talent and a long time. However, they didn't know that Dragon Boat Mountain was also extremely shocked in its heart. This kid can actually control the divine power of extreme cold. Dragon Boat's heart trembled. He knew that the divine power that Lu Ming controlled was a dominator's divine power. Now he was actually using the ultimate cold divine power. Good. The stronger this kid is, the more successful that plan will be. Dragon Boat Mountain's eyes flickered. On the fighting ring, Mo Ying was extremely frightened. He tried his best to burst out, trying to break free from the ice. However, would Lu Ming give him such a chance? Lu Ming moved and appeared in front of the specter. His cold eyes made the specter shiver and break out in cold sweat. I admit defeat, the specter roared madly. Did I allow you to admit defeat? Lu Ming said indifferently. He thrust his spear forward and killed the specter. CSISI. Many people gasped. The specter was dead. Huang Wen could not compare to Mo Ying. His combat strength was very strong. It was already very obvious during the sect combat. 1. Tian. However, he had also died at the hands of Lu Ming. Lu Ming's ability was shocking. Lu Ming, you are courting death. At that moment, the Tianhong Saint Sun was furious. His terrifying aura burst forth and pressed toward Lu Ming. He did not hide his cold killing intent. Tianhong, what are you doing? Nearby, Ouyang Qingxiang also released her aura to block the aura of the Tianhong Saint Sun. What do I want to do? Didn't you see that the specter had already admitted defeat? He already admitted defeat, and this brat still killed him. He's simply too audacious. I'll kill him now. The Tianhong Saint Sun said angrily. What a joke. Before the battle, they only said that it didn't matter whether you lived or died. They didn't say that you can't kill if you admit defeat. Lu Ming said indifferently. You quibble? The Tianhong Saint Sun was furious. His body was filled with terrifying killing intent. However, Lu Ming was right. Before the battle, they did say that they would not kill anyone regardless of their life or death. They did not say that they could not kill anyone if they admitted defeat. Alright, I'm done. At this moment, Dragon Boat Mountain waved his sleeves and said, It's true that we didn't say that we can't kill if we admit defeat. Let's explain it now. In the following battles, as long as we admit defeat, we must stop. The Tianhong Saint Sun felt helpless when he heard the Dragon Boat Mountain's words. He could only cast a few cold glances at Lu Ming, and the killing intent in his eyes became even more intense. Saint, let me go and kill this brat. Another young man stepped out from behind the Tianhong Saint Sun. The Tianhong Saint Sun nodded and said, Alright, let's end this quickly. Don't give that kid the chance to admit defeat. It was obvious that the Tianhong Saint Sun was very confident in this young man. Don't worry, Saint. He won't have the chance to admit defeat. The young man said coldly. In a flash, he landed on the fighting ring. Sanguine Rain, it's Sanguine Rain who's about to attack. The young man's arrival on the fighting ring shocked many people. That was because Sanguine Rain was an expert on the Real G.O.D. ranking list, one of the 8 experts on the Real G.O.D. ranking list in Kongshen sect. He was also the strongest person in the Real G.O.D. realm under the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction. Lu Ming is going to fight with Sanguine Rain. I wonder what the outcome will be. If Lu Ming can defeat Sanguine Rain, it would be a miracle. He would be listed on the True G.O.D ranking list as a Stage 3 True G.O.D. That's right. Sanguine Rain is ranked 87th on the Real G.O.D ranking list. However, the strength of his fighting power is not something that Moing can compare to. Many people were looking forward to this battle. Many of them had already begun to guess the outcome of this battle. An expert on the Real G.O.D ranking list? Come on. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with a strong desire to fight. Although he had seen the battles between experts on the Real G.O.D ranking list before, watching and fighting personally were two different things. But all of a sudden Shui Ye's figure moved. However, his figure was not charging toward Lu Ming but to the sky. In midair, Sanguine Rain's body emitted a blood-red light. Blood Rain Barrier. Sanguine Rain let out a low roar. He pushed with both hands and a layer of blood-red light shield covered the entire fighting ring. The Sanguine Rain Barrier was a secret technique that Sanguine Rain cultivated. It was extremely powerful. He used his unique skill the moment he made his move, not giving Lu Ming a chance to retaliate. Kill? Sanguine Rain bellowed. In the Sanguine Rain enchantment, endless sanguine sword gleams suddenly appeared and slashed toward Lu Ming. What can a barrier do to me? Kill. Lu Ming let out a long howl and activated the 9-layer crimson gold armor. He cast the 9 heavenly Kuan Ping technique and soared into the sky. Rays of spear radiance burst out from his hands. Boom, boom, boom. The spear radiance and the blood-red sword radiance collided with each other continuously, causing a deafening boom. Why is my divine power so heavily consumed? Suddenly Lu Ming frowned. He could feel his divine power being rapidly consumed. The same move was consuming his divine power much faster than before. Aha, do you feel that your divine power is rapidly being consumed? Under the suppression of my barrier, your divine power will be exhausted after a few moves, and you'll be at my mercy. Sanguine Rain laughed triumphantly. Then more sanguine sword gleams appeared and attacked Lu Ming. Is that so? Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. They wanted to exhaust his divine power? You must be joking. If it had been anyone else trapped in the blood rain barrier, they would have been in grave danger and their divine power would have been quickly exhausted. However, Lu Ming had the measure formula. Boom. Divine energy kept emerging from the quant. 1 Tai formula. Lu Ming's divine energy was always at its peak. 3 apocalyptic strikes, moon cutting. Lu Ming used the second move of the 3 apocalyptic strikes. The spear struck down and a crescent-shaped spear ray slashed out. Countless blood-red sword lights were destroyed, and the terrifying crescent-shaped spear light slashed toward the blood rain. Sanguine Rain's expression changed. In a flash, he appeared on the other side of the fighting ring, avoiding Lu Ming's attack. Within the blood rain enchantment, his speed was extremely fast. Such a powerful attack. Let's see how many moves you can use. Sanguine Rain snorted coldly. Is that so? I'll break your barrier first. Lu Ming's figure soared into the sky and blasted towards the barrier. Blood G.O.D Python kill? The blood rain howled and blood-red pythons appeared in the barrier. There were more than a dozen of them and each of them was hundreds of meters long. They charged at Lu Ming. Moon slaying. Lu Ming continued to use the moon slash and annihilated a blood-colored python with one move. However, there were more than 10 blood-colored pythons. Haha, your divine power is about to be exhausted, B-L-O-O-D-Y burst out laughing. Lu Ming could not be bothered with the blood rain and continued to attack. Defeating another person, Lu Ming continued to launch attacks. Moon slaying. Moon slaying. Moon cutting. Lu Ming continued to cast the moon slash. One after another, the blood-colored pythons were destroyed. Soon, the dozens of blood pythons all disappeared. At this moment, the smugness on Sanguine Rain's face had completely disappeared and was replaced by shock, confusion, and disbelief. How is that possible? How can his Shin power not be exhausted? Sanguine Rain muttered to himself. Lu Ming's attack was shockingly powerful. It was definitely a unique skill. Such a move usually consumed a lot of divine power. Even if he was outside, Lu Ming could not use it continuously. Furthermore, in his Sanguine Rain barrier, the speed of divine power consumption was several times faster than the outside due to the suppression of the barrier. Logically speaking, Lu Ming's divine power should have been exhausted. But why was Lu Ming still so lively? Sanguine Rain was already dumbfounded. Boom. Lu Ming broke through the Blood Python's encirclement and finally struck the Sanguine Rain barrier. The Blood Rain enchantment shook violently, but it didn't break. I don't believe it again. Lu Ming continued to attack, his long spear constantly blasting out. Boom. Boom. The Blood Rain enchantment kept shaking as if it was going to be broken at any time, but it managed to block it every time. Haha, Lu Ming, with your cultivation you can't break my barrier. You'll be beaten up passively. I don't believe that your divine power is endless. Even if I have to exhaust you, I'll exhaust you to death. Seeing that Lu Ming did not blast the Sanguine Rain barrier open, Sanguine Rain laughed and finally felt relieved. As long as Lu Ming could not break the Sanguine Rain barrier, he would be exhausted to death sooner or later. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. More blood-colored sword gleams and blood-colored pythons appeared in the Blood Rain enchantment and charged towards Lu Ming. Just a little bit more then. 4 times the combat power. Lu Ming's eyes gleamed as he activated his fourfold combat strength. At the same time, he swept his long spear to block the attacks of the blood-red sword gleam and blood-red python. Lu Ming is in a passive position. That's right, but his strength is really shocking. He's been trapped in the Blood Rain barrier for so long and still has such battle power. It's really terrifying. Indeed, Sanguine Rain is no match for him in a head-on collision. What a monster. Unfortunately, his attack power is still unable to break the Sanguine Rain barrier. He will eventually be defeated by Sanguine Rain. It's a bit of a pity. In the Sanguine Rain enchantment, as long as the enchantment could not be broken, the Sanguine Rain could take the initiative and stand in an invincible position, exhausting the opponent to death. Many people felt that Lu Ming's fate was sealed since he could not break the Sanguine Rain enchantment. He would lose without a doubt. Kill, kill, kill. Sanguine Rain's body continued to burst with blood-red divine power, raising the power of the Sanguine Rain barrier to its peak. Countless blood-red sword cheese and blood-red pythons charged towards Lu Ming. At this moment, a low rumble came from Lu Ming's body. The fighting spirit in his body suddenly increased. The battle formula had been successfully activated. Moon slaying. Lu Ming let out a long howl and cast the moon-cutting move again. However, the power this time was much stronger than before. Bang, bang, bang. A crescent-shaped attack burst out, and all the blood-red sword light and blood-red pythons were destroyed. Break. After Lu Ming destroyed the blood-red sword gleam and the blood-red python, he swept his long spear out again. This time it was aimed directly at the blood barrier. Boom. There was a violent explosion. Then the Blood Rain enchantment was pierced through, split into 2 and exploded. How is that possible? Sanguine Rain roared in shock. It was simply unbelievable. Lu Ming clearly could not break the Sanguine Rain barrier earlier. How did he manage to do it again in the blink of an eye? Could it be that Lu Ming had been hiding his abilities? Not good. Retreat, retreat. Reacting, Sanguine Rain's figure retreated frantically. However, how could Lu Ming allow him to retreat? He cast the 9 Heavenly Kunpeng technique. In a flash, he quickly chased after the Blood Rain and attacked with the moon-cutting technique. The Sanguine Rain enchantment shattered and was no longer within the enchantment. The speed of the Sanguine Rain had been reduced by many times. It could not compare to Lu Ming at all and could not avoid Lu Ming's attacks. It could only resist with all its might. A blood-red armor appeared on his body, covering his entire body. Then a sword appeared in his hands and he slashed out. Clang. Lu Ming's attack landed on Sanguine Rain's combat sword. Sanguine Rain's combat sword trembled violently and finally exploded with a bang. This was a middle-grade divine artifact, but it was shattered by Lu Ming. Sanguine Rain's figure retreated rapidly and he spat out a large mouthful of blood. He was severely injured. I admit defeat, I admit defeat. Just as Lu Ming was about to launch another attack and kill Sanguine Rain in one fell swoop, Sanguine Rain hurriedly shouted. He felt that he would definitely not be able to withstand Lu Ming's next move. When the next move was unleashed, he would die. If he did not admit defeat now, when would he? Sanguine Rain admitted defeat and Lu Ming had no choice but to stop. Sanguine Rain quickly retreated from the fighting ring, blood still spurting out of his mouth. A deep wound appeared on his chest. Even his armor had cracked and his bones could be seen. This was all thanks to Lu Ming's move just now. Sanguine Rain has lost, my G.O.D. Stage 3 True G.O.D. actually defeated an expert on the Real G.O.D. ranking list. This is too heaven-defying. Many people gasped in shock. The Tianhong Saint's son, the Transient Light Saint's son, and the others were also shocked. They looked terrified. Lu Ming was too heaven-defying. In a few more years they would have nothing to do with the Kongshen sect. Even the Supreme Holy Sun, who had been calm all this time, became extremely serious. Amazing. Lu Ming is too amazing. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng muttered to themselves. Boss is mighty. In the crowd, and Hai Lu Chong and a few others were also watching. At that moment their eyes were shining and they were abnormally excited. They had already submitted to Lu Ming. The stronger Lu Ming was, the happier they would be. As for the outer sect disciples, they were all dumbfounded. Some people looked down on Lu Ming when he first joined the sect. However, they were not even fit to carry his shoes now. Moreover, only a few decades had passed. Said, "Are there any more battles? Hurry up and come down." Lu Ming stood on the fighting ring and shouted. At this moment his combat strength was at its peak, and he didn't want to waste any time. Everyone looked at each other. The Tianhong Saint's son, the Transient Light Saint's son, and the others all looked gloomy. Shuiyu was the strongest true G.O.D. in the Tianhong Saint's son's faction. He had no one else to send. The Sacred Son of Reflection and the others had some subordinates, but they were not confident that they could defeat Lu Ming. Just now, Lu Ming had completely crushed Sanguine Rain after the battle. Therefore no one made a move for a while. Was Lu Ming really going to become the 8th saint of Kongshen sect today? Many people had such thoughts. Long Xian, you can make your move. At this moment, a majestic voice rang out. It was the Supreme Holy Sun. Chapter 2791 Scorpion Tail Secret Technique. The Supreme Holy Sun's voice rang out, causing many people's hearts to race. The Supreme Saint was going to send someone to attack, and he was actually going to send Long Xian. Long Xian was the number 1 true G.O.D. stage expert under the Supreme Holy Sun. He was also the number 1 true G.O.D. stage expert in Kongshen sect and was ranked 6th on the true G.O.D. ranking list. The Supreme Holy Sun was actually going to send out Long Xian. The eyes of the Tianhong Saint's son, the Sacred Son of Reflection, and the others lit up. Yes, Saint. Behind the Supreme Holy Sun, a thin young man in a black robe nodded. His figure flashed and he appeared on the fighting ring. Long Xian is about to make his move. There's going to be a good show. Many people revealed looks of anticipation. They all wanted to know if the Dragon Barrier could stop Lu Ming's winning streak. There was no doubt about Long Xian's power. He was ranked 6th on real G.O.D. ranking list and he was definitely far above Shuiyu. Shuiyu was merely ranked 87th on real G.O.D. ranking list. He'll give you some time to rest and recover. Long Xian looked at Lu Ming and spoke indifferently. Even though Lu Ming had displayed shocking strength, he still had great confidence in himself. No, let's fight now. Lu Ming said. It seems that you are very confident. In that case, don't say that I took advantage of you. Be careful. Long Xian reminded him as a pitch-black spear appeared in his hand. Long Xian's weapon was also a spear. Bang. Long Xian stomped on the ground heavily. His body was like a stream of light as he charged toward Lu Ming. A black spear ray shot out like a shooting star toward Lu Ming. 3 apocalyptic strikes break the sky. Lu Ming also thrust his spear. Boom. The 2 spear lights collided in the void, creating a shocking boom and setting off a violent airflow that scattered in all directions. At the same time, the 2 figures floated back. The collision this time was a tie. Sacred grade divine power. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. The divine power that Long Xian controlled was divine grade divine power. This person's cultivation had already reached the peak of the true G.O.D. realm and he was only 1 step away from the celestial G.O.D. realm. As long as he entered the celestial G.O.D. realm, he would be qualified to become the next saint. There was no need to doubt his combat strength. If not for the fact that Lu Ming had cultivated the universal myriad Tao mantra, had 5 divine flames in his body, and had extremely powerful divine energy, he would not have been able to fight against Long Xian with only 1 kind of ruler's strength and such a huge difference in cultivation. Even now, Lu Ming's combat power was 4 times stronger after activating the battle character formula. They were equally matched in the collision just now. Amazing, really amazing. 3rd stage true G.O.D. actually has such combat power. This is still the first time I've seen it. Again. Long Xian's eyes were filled with surprise as he charged toward Lu Ming again. This time the power he used was even stronger. His attack skill has already reached the peak of the 5th level. Lu Ming's gaze was solemn. Long Xian's offensive divine skill had already reached the peak of the 5th level. It was one level higher than Lu Ming's divine skill. Fortunately, Lu Ming had the support of the battle character formula. Any divine skill that he used would be much more powerful. Otherwise it would be difficult to resist. 3 apocalyptic strikes, moon cutting. Lu Ming held the spear with both hands and swung it down with all his might. A crescent-shaped spear gleam slashed at Long Xian. Boom. The two of them clashed for the second time, but this time, it was still difficult to determine the winner. Amazing again. Long Xian let out a long roar and continued to charge at Lu Ming. Lu Ming also exerted his strength to the extreme. The divine power of 5 divine flames, 4 times the combat power of the battle character formula, and an exceptionally powerful divine body. Every trace of power was used to fight Long Xian. The two of them fought intensely on the fighting ring and exchanged more than 100 moves. Lu Ming did not cast the ice chain because he knew that Long Xian had a secret skill that he had not cast as well. He had seen it during the sect combat. 1 time. Whoosh. All of a sudden, a pitch-black ray of light burst out from Long Xian's body and shot toward Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. They're here. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. At this moment he was highly focused. With a single thought, an ice chain flew out and flew toward the black light. Now, the ice chain collided with the black light and a clang was heard. However, Lu Ming's expression changed as the ice chain shattered during the collision. The ice chains could not stop the black light at all. After the black light broke the ice chains, it continued to stab toward Lu Ming at an alarming speed. Lu Ming could clearly see that it was a scorpion's tail. There was a black thorn at the tip of the tail. It was black and shiny, extremely terrifying. This was the secret technique of Dragon Peril. Bang! The scorpion tail was too fast and it hit Lu Ming in the next moment. The 9-layer crimson gold armor on Lu Ming's body shook violently. It could not withstand the attack and was pierced through. Lu Ming executed the 9 heavenly Kunpeng technique and retreated rapidly. However, he was still a step too late. He felt a sharp pain in his body. His shoulder had been struck and a small hole had appeared. Blood was flowing out. Lu Ming flew all the way to the edge of the fighting ring before he stopped. What a powerful secret technique. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. Long Xian's scorpion tail secret technique had an astonishing offensive power. It was not that Lu Ming's ice chain was inferior to his opponent's. It was just that Lu Ming's current cultivation level was too weak. The secret skill would become more powerful as the cultivator's cultivation level increased. If Lu Ming's cultivation reached the 9th stage True G.O.D. realm, the power of the ice shackles would naturally be extremely shocking. Interesting. There aren't many True G.O.D. realm experts who can take one of my attacks without being injured. Again. Long Xian's voice was heard. Before he could finish his sentence, he was already charging towards Lu Ming. The scorpion tail on his body turned into a bolt of black lightning and stabbed at Lu Ming. Ice chains. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and a few ice chains flew out at once. This time Lu Ming used 3 ice chains in total. The 3 ice chains were like 3 silver snakes as they flew towards the enemy. Ding, 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 ding. There were 3 consecutive sounds of collision. This time Lu Ming finally managed to block the scorpion tail attack. He actually blocked it. That's a secret technique, ice chain. Some people recognized Lu Ming's secret skill. Such a secret skill was available in the Sutra library. Anyone could exchange for it as long as they had points. 3rd stage True G.O.D. The power of the ice shackles is already so strong. This is already grand completion. An inner court elder sighed. How does he cultivate? If he wants to cultivate the ice shackles to the large success stage, the cold moonstone is the best choice. Could it be that he has obtained several cold moonstones? How is that possible? The other inner court elder was even more envious. This was because he had also cultivated the ice shackles. However, he had cultivated it for many years and had not achieved great success because he did not have the suitable materials. On the fighting ring, the intense battle between Lu Ming and Long Xian continued. The scorpion tail and the ice chains kept colliding. The long spears in their hands also kept clashing. However, they were still evenly matched. I didn't expect you to be so powerful. You're the first one to force me to use my ultimate move, Kongshen Sect. Long Xian's voice resounded. In the next moment, another black light burst out from his body. Chapter 2792 Becoming a Holy Sun. A black light burst out from Long Xian's body like lightning. Another scorpion tail. The Dragon's Bane's secret technique was actually somewhat similar to the ice chain. It could be used with more than just a scorpion tail. In the previous sect combat, 1. Tian Long Xian had only used one scorpion tail to end the battle. No one knew that Long Xian could actually use a second one. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. Fortunately, Lu Ming had held back. He did not use the full power of the ice chain. Ice chain go. Lu Ming waved his hand and 3 more ice chains flew out. A few consecutive clashing sounds were heard and they successfully blocked the scorpion tail. You've actually reached the level of mastery in all 6 of the frozen shackles. This time Long Xian himself was shocked. You're already surprised. Let's continue. Lu Ming waved his hand again and 9 ice chains appeared on his body. They flew out and wrapped around Long Xian. 9. Long Xian's pupils contracted and he let out a low growl. His body emitted a black light and another scorpion tail flew out from his body. 3 scorpion tails. Long Xian had actually cultivated 3 scorpion tails. The 3 scorpion tails and the 9 ice chains kept clashing. Clang, clang. A dense collision sound rang out, and in an instant the two had exchanged more than 100 moves. So powerful. These two are both monsters. Long Xian is a monster, but Lu Ming is even more of a monster. Lu Ming and Long Xian had revealed their trump cards, shocking the audience. Even the inner sect elders could not remain calm. On the fighting ring, 2 figures were constantly flashing, constantly colliding and fighting fiercely. Those with weaker cultivations couldn't even see the 2 of them clearly. Not long after, the 2 of them exchanged hundreds of moves before they separated and stood on different sides of the fighting ring. 1. The crowd was curious and looked at the 2 of them carefully. Look, Long Xian's aura is even weaker. His body is covered in a layer of frost. Someone exclaimed. Everyone looked over and saw that Long Xian's body was covered in a layer of frost. Even his hair and eyebrows were covered in a layer of frost. I've lost. At this moment, Long Xian spoke up and actually admitted defeat. He looked at the 9 flying ice chains behind Lu Ming with a deep fear. One of the ice chains in particular emitted a shocking amount of cold air. After the continuous collisions, he felt that the blood in his body was about to freeze. He needed to divert a large amount of divine power to resist the cold air. If the battle continued, he would definitely not be Lu Ming's match. What? Long Xian admits defeat. Lu Ming has won. Long Xian's admission of defeat caused an uproar in the crowd. This result was truly beyond everyone's expectations. Previously, many people looked down on Lu Ming. They thought that Lu Ming, who was a 3rd stage true God, would be crushed in minutes. But now, even Long Xian, who was ranked 6th on the Real God ranking list, was not Lu Ming's match. Was Lu Ming still human? If you manage to cultivate the 4th scorpion tail, I will definitely not be your opponent. Lu Ming replied politely. Long Xian's strength was truly shocking. Lu Ming had already given it his all, but he still did not have much of an advantage. He had to rely on the terrifying cold chi in the 9th ice chain to suppress Long Xian a little. If the other party had a 4th scorpion tail, Lu Ming would not be a match for it. This battle made Lu Ming understand that he could not underestimate the heroes of the world. There were countless divine techniques and secret skills in the universe. It was normal for some extremely powerful freaks to be born. A loss is a loss. Besides, it's not easy to cultivate a 4th scorpion tail. I'm convinced of my loss. Long Xian was an open and honest man. After cupping his fists, he left the fighting ring. Do you guys still want to fight? Lu Ming scanned his surroundings again, but there was no response. What a joke. Long Xian had been defeated. Who else in the true God level could fight Lu Ming? If he went up, he would definitely be defeated. Is there anyone else who wants to go up and fight? The Dragon Boat Mountain asked. Still no one answered. Alright, since no one is willing to accept the challenge, Lu Ming is officially the saint as per our agreement. Dragon Boat Mountain announced. The Tianhong Saint's son, the Transient Light Saint's son, and the others all looked extremely gloomy. The Tianhong Saint's son and the Sacred Son of Reflection had suffered a double loss. They had each lost a genius. This is just the beginning. It's not that easy to secure the position of the saint. The Tianhong Saint's son snorted. Congratulations, congratulations. Congratulations, Holy Son Lu Ming. Seeing that the Dragon Boat Mountain had already made the announcement, some of the inner sect elders cupped their fists and congratulated Lu Ming. Of course, there were also some inner elders who looked gloomy and didn't say anything like Yingtsang's master. Seniors, you're too polite. Lu Ming could only give a fist salute in response. In truth, he really didn't care much for this saint child. However, the Dragon Boat Mountain had forced him to do so, and he had been cursed with the dark dragon blood curse. He could only obediently listen to their orders. Alright, this matter ends here. This year's combat. 1. Tie-in is officially over, the Dragon Boat Mountain announced and turned to leave. Before he left, he cast a glance at Lu Ming. Lu Ming could clearly see that the Dragon Boat Mountain's eyes were filled with antic 1. Asian and a terrifying ferocity. This old man, what is he planning? Lu Ming furrowed his eyebrows tightly. After Dragon Boat Mountain left, the inner sect elders also left one after another. Lu Ming, no, holy son Lu Ming, congratulations, congratulations. Yu Linglong immediately came up to congratulate him with a smile. Brother Lu, congratulations. Wu Zifeng also cupped his fists and congratulated. You guys don't have to congratulate me. I don't want to be the saint yet. Lu Ming said helplessly. When the other disciples heard this, they were filled with envy, jealousy, and hatred. They wished they could stomp on Lu Ming a few times. They didn't want to be the saint, but they didn't. It was too infuriating. Haha, it's too early to be happy. A cold voice was heard. The Tianhong saint's son walked over with his people. Tianhong, what are you doing? Ouyang Qingxiang also brought people over to confront the Tianhong saint's son. Don't worry, I won't make a move. The Tianhong saint's son glanced at Ouyang Qingxiang and then at Lu Ming. To become a saint, you have to establish your own faction and expand the strength of your faction. Only then can you partake. 1. 8 in the combat. 1. Tie-in for the position of sect leader. The Tianhong saint's son then looked around and said, I, Tianhong, hereby declare that whoever joins Lu Ming's faction will be my enemy. A threat, a blatant threat. The Tianhong saint's son was threatening everyone. Anyone who joined Lu Ming's faction would be his enemy. One could imagine the consequences of making an enemy of the Tianhong saint's son. Tianhong, don't you think you're being too despicable by doing this? Ouyang Qingxiang coldly replied. Holy sons, 3, what do you mean by despicable? In this world there is only the winner takes all, how can you call it despicable? The Tianhong saint's son sneered and didn't take it seriously. That's right, Tianhong's meaning is also my meaning. At that moment another voice was heard. The sacred son of reflection had also walked over. His voice reverberated throughout the area. I, floating light, also declare that whoever joins Lu Ming's faction will be my enemy. The two saints' words silenced the crowd. Initially there were some neutral people who did not join any factions. However, after seeing Lu Ming's amazing talent, they were already tempted to join him. However, at this moment they were all hesitating. If they joined Lu Ming's sect, they would have to face the retaliation of the sacred son of reflection and the Tianhong sacred son. Could they bear the risk? Many people secretly shook their heads and gave up on the idea of joining Lu Ming. Lu Ming's cultivation base was still too weak. Although he was invincible among true Ji, true Ji, DS could not be compared to celestial Ji, DS. True Ji, DS were unrivaled. Even heavenly Ji, DS were no match for them, let alone top geniuses like the Tianhong saint's son and the sacred son of reflection. I, Zhixia, also have the same intention. I, Shuetan, am the same. Then the Zhixia saint's son and the Shuetan saint daughter stepped forward one after another, expressing the same thoughts as the Tianhong saint's son and the transient light saint's son. Lu Ming's talent was too strong and it made them feel great pressure. He must not let Lu Ming grow. The best way was to suppress him before he grew up. Without the support of the others, no matter how strong Lu Ming's cultivation was, it would be difficult for him to become the sect leader of Kongshen sect. After 4 consecutive statements from the Holy Sons and Holy Virgins, those who wanted to join Lu Ming's faction had completely given up on the idea. These fellows, Lu Ming glanced at the Tianhong saint's son, the transient light saint's son, and the others with a cold glint in his eyes. Although he did not care about the position of the saint and did not want to be the sect leader of the Kongshen sect in the future, he was still a saint. However, it was not Lu Ming's style to not resist when he was being bullied. Now, if there's anyone who wants to join my faction, I, Lu Ming, swear that I'll treat you with sincerity and entrust you with important tasks. If you want to join my faction, you can come and sign up. Lu Ming's voice was heard by everyone. Many people were tempted. If they joined Lu Ming now, they would definitely be put in an important position and be entrusted with important tasks. Moreover, if Lu Ming were to develop further, the people who join now would definitely be his trusted aides. However, if they joined now, they would be going against the Tianhong Saint Sun and the others. They would be courting death. In the end, many people shook their heads and dispelled the idea. Lu Ming, I'll join your faction. Yu Linglong walked out and glared at the Tianhong Saint Sun, the Transient Light Saint Sun, and the others. The Tianhong Saint Sun, the Transient Light Saint Sun, and the others' faces darkened. However, they knew that Yu Linglong's background was extraordinary, so they naturally wouldn't say anything. I'll join too. Wu Zifeng also ran over to join in the fun. However, other than the two of them, no one else stepped forward. Hee, the Tianhong Saint Sun was about to sneer and mock him, but he was interrupted. I'll join, a deep voice was heard. And Hai walked out of the crowd and flew toward Lu Ming. The Tianhong Saint Sun's sneer was stuck in his throat. His face was extremely ugly as he looked at Hai with a cold gaze. And Hai's expression changed when he was met with the Tianhong Saint Sun's gaze. He felt immense pressure, but he gritted his teeth and went to Lu Ming. Boss, I want to join your faction. All right. Lu Ming nodded. He quite agreed with the big guy in Hai. Who is this kid? He has the guts to join Lu Ming's faction. Does he want to die? Someone muttered. The Tianhong Saint Sun, the Transient Light Saint Sun, the Jixia Saint Sun, and the Shuetan Saintess had just said that joining Lu Ming's faction would be going against them. They had just finished their words when Hai jumped out and joined Lu Ming. This was like a slap to their faces in public. If this wasn't seeking death, what was? Lu Chang, Zhaofeng, what are you two doing? Hurry up and join the boss faction. And NBSP and Hai looked at Lu Chang and Zhaofeng. Lu Chang's and Zhaofeng's faces were white as snow, and their eyes were filled with struggle and hesitation. In the end, the two of them gritted their teeth and walked out, saying we're willing to join Lu Ming's faction. Holy Son Lu Ming, please fulfill our wish. Back then, they had all sworn on their life source to pledge their allegiance to Lu Ming. Now they could only bite the bullet and do it. All right, I agree to let you join. Lu Ming nodded. The expressions of the Tianhong Saint Sun, the Transient Light Saint Sun, and the others turned even colder. Their eyes were filled with killing intent as they kept glancing at Hai and the others, causing them to break out in cold sweat. Good, you three, very good. The Tianhong Saint Sun glanced at Hai and the other two and said, okay, several times. Then he waved his sleeves and turned to leave. The Floating Light Saint Sun, Jixia Saint Sun, and Shuetan Saint Daughter didn't say anything. They all turned and left. In the end, apart from Hai, Lu Chang, Zhaofeng, and a few others, no one else joined Lu Ming's faction. However, Lu Ming was not in a hurry. No one was joining now, but that didn't mean that there wouldn't be in the future. It was still uncertain who would have the last laugh. Let's go. Lu Ming did not stay. He turned and left, followed by Hai and the rest. The Kong Xian sect compet. 1. Tian had just ended. Lu Ming's name had shaken the Kong Xian sect from then on, and even spread to other sections. On the way, Lu Ming gave Hai, Lu Chang, Zhaofeng, and the others some resources and told them to cultivate properly when they returned. Lu Ming would not mistreat anyone who had joined him under the pressure of the Tianhong Saint Sun and the others. After that, Lu Ming returned to his residence alone and cultivated in peace. Could it be that this little fellow is about to evolve? He had only been back for 2 days when Xiuqiu started to change. It flew out of Lu Ming's wrist and landed in the courtyard, turning into a metal ball. Lu Ming could feel a terrifying aura lurking inside as if it was going to explode at any time. On Xiuqiu's surface, arcs of lightning appeared. Ever since Xiuqiu bit off a piece of bronze from the Bronze Gate a few years ago on the ancient G.O.D. star, it had been in a deep sleep. It seemed to be digesting that piece of bronze, and it was only now that there were changes. Lu Ming was looking forward to it. The bronze door that had appeared on the ancient G.O.D. star must have had an astonishing origin. Even many divine kings could not break it open, so it was obvious. Lu Ming could not tell what kind of changes Xiuqiu would undergo after it digested the bronze. Someone's coming. At this moment, Lu Ming's gaze flickered and he walked out of the courtyard's entrance. A figure landed in front of Lu Ming. It was an old man with white hair and a white beard. Greetings, elder. Lu Ming cupped his fist. He could tell that the old man was an inner sect elder from his attire. Holy Son Lu Ming, you're too kind. The old man didn't dare to be slow and quickly returned the greeting. Supreme profound divine technique in the Kong Xian sect, the status of a saint was even higher than that of an inner sect elder, so the elder did not dare to be careless. Elder, why are you looking for me today? Lu Ming asked. I'm here today to give the Holy Sun's Holy Sun token to Holy Sun Lu Ming. The old man smiled, took out a jade box and handed it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming took the jade box and opened it, only to discover that it was a token. This token was very similar to their disciple's token, but the material was completely different. The token was made of the extremely rare star sky gold. Stardust sky gold was a precious material that could be used to refine supreme-grade divine artifacts. What was a supreme-grade divine weapon? It was a divine weapon used by divine kings. From this, one could see how precious this token was. Saint, you just need to drip a drop of blood on it and this token will be bound to you. The old man said. Lu Ming understands. Thank you, elder. Lu Ming nodded. The old man nodded secretly. He was quite satisfied with Lu Ming's attitude. The other holy sons and holy virgins were all extremely arrogant. When they saw their inner sect elders, they would also act high and mighty. Lu Ming's humble attitude had left a good impression on him. It's a pity that his cultivation is still too low. I don't know if he'll have a bright future if he's competing with the Tianhong Saint's son and the sacred son of reflection. I can consider joining his faction when his cultivation is higher. The old man thought to himself. Holy Son Lu Ming, there's one more thing. You can choose any divine grade technique you want to cultivate in the scriptures depository. However, you've already mastered the divine grade divine power, so you won't be able to use the divine grade technique. The old man reminded him again before taking his leave. He did not know that Lu Ming was overjoyed. The son of G.O.D. could freely choose a divine grade technique to cultivate. It would be strange if Lu Ming did not like it. This meant that he could cultivate another divine grade divine power. 4 other people who had cultivated divine grade divine power, the other divine grade techniques were naturally of little use. However, Lu Ming was different. He had the Universe Thousand Dao Scroll. The more divine techniques he had, the better. Don't be a fool, Lu Ming smiled and returned to the courtyard. He realized that Qiuqiu was still evolving. Lu Ming left the courtyard immediately and went to the scripture chamber. The scripture chamber was still guarded by the old men. Little guy, you're here again. What kind of divine skill or secret skill do you want to exchange this time? One of the old men asked with a smile. In the past, Lu Ming had exchanged for several king-grade divine skills and techniques. He had also exchanged for the secret technique, the frost technique. He had even spent 50,000 points to exchange for the first stage of the ultimate frost divine technique. Therefore the elders had a deep impression of Lu Ming. Seniors, I've come to receive a divine art this time. Lu Ming smiled. What? To receive the divine grade technique? The elders' eyes widened in disbelief. Little fellow, you can't joke about this. It's not that easy to obtain a saint-grade divine art. One of the old men stopped smiling and said, in order to receive the complete divine grade technique, one had to either be promoted to a holy son, or be extremely talented, and be recognized by the higher-ups of the sect. Only then could one receive the complete divine grade technique. Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the 3rd stage of true G.O.D. realm. It was impossible for him to be a holy son. They had ruled out this point. Could it be that he had been appreciated by the higher-ups of the sect and had come here to receive a saint-grade divine art? The few elders thought so. Yes, I've just been promoted to the saint. This is my saint token. Lu Ming took out the saint token and handed it to the elders. Oh, I see. What? Saint? The saint? The few old men didn't react in the beginning, but when they finally reacted, they almost jumped out of their seats. Lu Ming was actually a saint who had just been promoted? 3rd stage true G.O.D. actually became a holy son. This greatly exceeded their expectations. An elder took the holy son token from Lu Ming's hand in bewilderment. After checking it, he realized that there was no mistake. This little fellow, you're really a weirdo. In the end, the few elders came to a conclusion. Since you're the saint, you'll naturally be able to obtain a complete set of divine grade techniques. Which one do you want? I remember that you exchanged for the first stage of the ultimate cold divine technique. You want the ultimate cold divine technique, right? An old man took a deep breath to calm himself down and smiled. From his point of view, since Lu Ming had already exchanged for the first stage of the ultimate cold divine technique, he would definitely exchange for the complete ultimate cold divine technique this time. Otherwise, wouldn't the 50,000 points he had spent previously be in vain? He speculated that Lu Ming was most likely confident that he would become a saint and obtain the complete divine art. That was why he had exchanged for the first level in advance and cultivated it for a while. Senior, I want the great profound divine technique, Lu Ming said. There were a few divine skills and techniques in the Kongshan sect, and the Taishin divine technique was one of them. What? You want the great profound divine technique? The elders were stunned again. In the past, Lu Ming had clearly exchanged for the first stage of the ultimate frost divine technique. Why did he want to exchange for the mysterious divine technique now? Little guy, I remember that you exchanged for the first stage of the ultimate cold divine technique. How did you exchange for the mysterious divine technique now? You have to consider it carefully. An old man kindly reminded. Senior, I've already considered it. Lu Ming said. All right then, wait a moment, I'll be right back. An old man said as he stepped into the scripture chamber. Not long after, the elder took out a scroll and said it to Lu Ming. Little guy, the complete great profound divine technique is recorded inside. Take it, but I have to remind you that without the approval of the sect, you must not teach it to others. Do you understand? The old man said. This junior understands. Many thanks, senior. Lu Ming bowed and took the scroll. His heart was burning with Shaun. He immediately bade farewell to the few elders and returned to his residence. I'm getting old. I really can't understand the young people nowadays. The few elders sighed repeatedly. They could not see through Lu Ming at all. In their eyes, a young man seemed to be a little unfathomable. Lu Ming returned to his residence. Qiuqiu was still evolving. Lu Ming sat on the ground and took out the great mystery divine technique to read it in detail. Lu Ming did not need the complete Taishin divine technique. He only needed the first stage. As long as he cultivated the first stage, he would be able to condense a flame of Taishin divine power. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. For the past month, Lu Ming had been focused on cultivating the great profound divine technique. He had finally cultivated to the first stage and successfully cultivated a wisp of great profound divine power. After cultivating a wisp of the mysterious divine energy, Lu Ming switched to the Universe Thousand Dao mantra. As time passed, the wisp of mysterious divine energy continued to grow. A few months passed, by in a hurry. A light spot suddenly appeared in Lu Ming's dantian. All the mysterious divine energy gathered towards this light spot. The light spot became more and more dazzling. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.